Hello there, hello there, hello there, everybody. How the devil are we all? I'm very well. Thank you for asking. Welcome to the Happy Hour. The programme definitely not filmed at the cheapest possible location in the grounds of my country estate in Ireland. That's definitely true. I'm Kevin Logan, the intellectual equivalent for carrying ammunition for a gun I do not own. And joining me is a woman who is the intellectual equivalent of a giant stone flying Karl Marx head. Be afraid! Be very afraid! It's Dr. Kristi Winters.
Hey Kev, oh my gosh, are you ready to live through the pain of this movie one more time for the entertainment and all?
This is the greatest movie in the history of the world, Kristi.
It's something. It certainly is a thing that is on film.
That's the only way in which it is a film, though.
It's a series of moving pictures.
Technically, it is on film. That is true.
Yeah, it checks everything off that you need to be a film. But
well, apart from like plot, dialogue, character development, any semblance of making fucking sense, you know.
It seems that it has two modes, which is just all visuals and no exposition, or exposition dump. Those are your options. It's a desert or a waterfall with this movie.
True. All I'll say is in this movie there are more tits than plot lines. So
that is true. That is so true.
There is more.
It seemed mostly.
There is more tit per square inch than there is plot in the entire film. So
hashtag facts.
Yes. So this is. What did you think? Had you heard of the film before it was suggested? What were your thoughts going into the flick?
I knew nothing. I'd never heard of it, not even as a sort of like, oh my gosh, this is a crazy movie you have to see sometime. I knew zero other than what we saw in the trailer. And I have to say, in a lot of ways, the trailer, you could just watch the trailer and pretty much get exactly the same sort of level of confusion and disarray in terms of like, or dislocation that you get watching it for the full 2 hours or whatever it is.
Yeah.
How about you?
I didn't know anything about it. I'd known it had become a meme, the Sean Connery in a, as you can see even on this movie poster, kind of orange pants and then like an orange kind of weird sash thing going on. I'd seen that before and I was like, I don't know what film that's from. It's definitely not James Bond.
Oh, apparently there is a sort of reference to this. There's a Rick and Morty episode where a stone head floats in and then guns shoot out of its mouth, which is so obviously a Zardoz reference.
Now that you know, yeah, indeed. But anyway,
now that you know, yeah. So, otherwise it just looks like a Rick and Morty thing.
And just to explain the level of pretension in this film, beyond 1984, beyond 2001, beyond love, beyond death, which is... And it suits it. That tagline suits this film because it's the kind of thing that a 12-year-old would be embarrassed by. If a 15-year-old emo poet came to you with some shit like that, you'd be like, yeah, of course. Whereas this was an actual film that got made.
No, I was actually shocked to learn that John Boorman made good movies before this. Like, I had no idea that he made Deliverance.
Yeah, he directed
some Deliverance.
Films, yeah. But then presumably got into some pretty hardcore psychedelic drugs or something.
Yeah, I can only assume that he was working with other people's scripts at that time, and he had other people's opinions, like art directors and cinematographers and people who could like go, yeah, maybe this is just, not going anywhere. Maybe we should move this along a little bit.
Yeah. Because this film is mental. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the first of the actual screenshots from the film. This character is called...
Yeah, it really sets a tone.
This character is called Friend. And Friend... Arthur Friend.
Is that Friend?
Arthur Frayne. Sorry. There's one called Frayne and one called Friend. Because that's not confusing.
Yeah, that's not confusing.
When you don't see them written down at all. Anyway, this is Arthur Friend. Arthur Frayne. Yeah. Who is one of the pivotal characters, albeit that he doesn't appear in most of the film. Anyway, he appears at the start as a disembodied head, literally floating around the screen in what for what 1974 viewers must have thought was the most cutting-edge piece of scientific film cinematography they'd ever seen. It must have blown their tiny little minds, Christo.
I mean, I have to say, I don't know. I only work with, the basics of editing and green screening or whatever else that I do on my phone. But even I would know to not have an obvious straight line that cuts. I mean, why wouldn't they sort of like do his effect so that he's just a head with like his headdress, still floating down or whatever? No. They just it looks like honestly, no offense, Kevin, it looks like something you would put into one of our painting adaptions.
Oh,
that's the level of art.
That's the biggest slam I could think of. Oh, Kristi, what did you have to do Borman dirty like that? Jesus. That is outrageous. That's not shade. That's like fucking Death Valley shade. That's fucked up. Anyway.
Borman 1974 equals Kevin Logan 2020.
Exactly. But to be fair to them, it was 1974. This was cutting edge, like cinematography in a way. Like this wasn't that commonplace style or whatever. So I'll give them that, even though it looks comically shit to us. At the time, it was probably like, whoa, it's a disembodied head. Whoa, crazy. Anyway, but it is shit.
Yeah,
it is shit. Let's not be.
Can I also just do? Yeah, just a little bit more critique. It's not as if the head sort of starts in the distance and then comes to us.
No.
Or kind of like, starts in one corner and then moves to the whatever. It's like something out of Pong. It just goes wherever it wants.
Yeah, it's like for those who remember DVDs, do you remember the DVD screen where the DVD symbol would bounce off the walls of the TV?
Yes.
It's like that.
Yes.
Which is shit. Again, in 1974, probably not that bad, but for now, it just looks awful. Anyway, and as Kristi says, I mean, this, I suppose, technically, actually, what Kristi said about it being either visual or expropriation, this was a bit of both. This was a visual thing and an expropriation dump where he kind of just tells you, in really pretentious terms, the basic outline of the film. Or the basic outline of the social situation.
Yes, he tells you that he's immortal and blah blah blah, and he's a magician. And meanwhile, all you can think about is that mustache drawn on?
And it is. It's the mustache and beard. Even though this is I believe I'm right in saying a cis man who should probably be able to grow some kind of facial hair that they could maybe, or just wear a fake beard, but no, they just drew it on his face with ballpoint pen by the looks of things, which again, 1974, ballpoint pens were new. Anyway, yes, so there's an expropriation dump where he explains that he's immortal, the brutals, blah blah blah, and the pretentiousness starts to show. Where me and Kristi eventually came to the realization that this is basically like imagine Jordan Peterson on one of his fucking antidepressant binge pill sessions wrote a film.
Yes.
It's that. And he literally says the line, and I quote, again, imagine this, from a 15-year-old emo poet, and it makes a lot more sense. Is God in show business too?
Yes, you can just hear the guitar in the back.
That's a line that gets said. I mean, Jesus. Anyway, so that's pretentious bullshit. Then, amazingly, this thing appears. No, sorry, hang on. That's Zardoz. That's just the screen title that comes up. Nice, Adobe Effects editing. Anyway, but
you can get that on Fiverr.
Yeah, then this appears.
Right, with just music behind it.
Ominous music, a massive, quote-unquote, stone, we'll get onto it. Karl Marx head? Question mark? I don't think it's supposed to be Karl Marx, although frankly this film is pretentious enough that it could be some sort of allegory to the Cold War, who fucking knows. It's a big giant stone head that flies around, and it's called Zardoz. For a reason we don't learn until later.
No. I did learn something. Well, I guess it'll come to it. We'll come to it when we come to the part of it. I don't want to see. This is the other thing is I don't want to make it look like there's a plot to this movie.
Yeah, there is.
When there's not.
There's not. I mean, technically events happen in order because that's how linear time works. But that's it. There's no actual plot. There's no rhythm to anything. There's no reason that anything takes place. No. Most of the film could be literally cut, and it would, because it's superfluous. It doesn't mean anything.
The concept of pacing didn't really bother the director at all.
No, not a lot did. I don't know what they were focusing on. Like with some films, you can say, oh, it's a bit too plot heavy, or maybe they went a bit too visual with the art style, blah blah blah. What were they focusing on with this film that they did too much of, that meant that everything else fell to shit? I don't know. There's no.
So we just watched this. No, I know. So yes, you're just mesmerized. Like, what is this head? How does it fly?
Yeah.
What is going on?
None of that. And by the way, none of that's ever explained. Ever.
Well, there is a later explanation I figured out from watching other people's reviews.
Oh, okay. Is that? Well, I missed it. It was so deliciously subtle.
I don't want to tell it now because I just want to really reenact the complete confusion we felt.
Having put these screenshots together and having had to tastefully edit many of them, I can tell you what they focused on. Tits.
Yeah. Nipples mostly. A lot of boobs.
Lots of tits. Anyway, so...
Apparently, bras don't exist in the future.
No, obviously not.
Not a single bra on set.
Why would you need? Why would you need a bra? It's 1974.
It was the 70s.
Please. Although this film, of course, is set in 2293. So we're talking nearly 300... Well, more than 300 years at the time. Into the future. Anyway, so... The flying, we're going to call him Flying Karl Marx head. It's not, I don't think, supposed to be Karl Marx, but he looks mental and he needs a lot of dental work. Anyway, it flies through the air and then starts vomiting guns and bullets.
Well, didn't he give a little speech before this?
Something about I am God, and then the Brutals, who are the kind of mortal people of the earth in this post-apocalyptic world, even though it's never explained what that apocalypse was, or what impact it had, or why these people live the way they do. It's just a thing. Again, doesn't need to be explained. And then starts vomiting guns for the Brutals, who are the assassins, of which Sean Connery is one.
Yeah, so you see, it kind of looks like you guys remember the Monty Python fog effect when they just sort of like put way too much fog up on a scene to kind of cover it up. They did that a lot here, and you just get guys it's all men on horses, and everybody in this movie is white, like lily white. But they come running up on their horses. They've got sometimes they're wearing white masks and not a lot of clothing, and they've got guns or whatever. And then they are told that the gun is good and the penis is bad.
No.
Because it shoots.
The penis is evil.
Oh, evil, yes. Because it shoots seeds.
Because it shoots seeds.
The penis is evil. Because it shoots seeds.
Which is, again, imagine like a 15-year-old emo poet who doesn't quite understand feminism.
Yes.
Is, again,
that would also sum up
this movie. Atrocious. It's never explained how this is happening at all. None of this makes any fucking sense. But but the penis is evil. That's a thing. That's part of, I believe, the kind of pseudo feminist thing that kind of runs throughout the film, even though it's violently misogynistic. Anyway.
Oh yes.
So
it vomits out these guns.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. And the Brutals are like, hurrah! Oh, and also they're told to like kill off the other people who are breeding too much. They're making too many babies, so that these Brutals apparently are there for population control.
Indeed, yes.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, and is never explained. Which the phrase "is never explained" will appear quite a lot through the course of this. Anyway, we then get the first appearance of James Bond, who immediately breaks the fourth wall and shoots the camera for some reason. Yes. That's, again, never explained. Notice
those masks are white. Apparently those masks are based off the face of the director.
So the director looks vaguely like an angry Karl Marx.
Yeah, and that's why So I think that's actually it's a bit of a self-indulgent
really, this self-indulgence in this film, please. Don't be silly. This film is arguably the most self-indulgent wank that was ever put to celluloid film. Anyhow.
Oh yes, and all we learned from Prime that
Yes.
this opening scene was basically filmed somewhere around John Borman's house. Should we talk a little bit about the budget of this film? Just
Yes.
and how much Sean Connery made?
Yeah, the budget was $1.57 million US, which at the time was a substantial sum of money. And Sean Connery, post his James Bond fame, made $200,000, which was nothing, basically.
Apparently, he couldn't get any work, which
Couldn't
just
find work,
stuns me. No, so they
It's not
they
like
got
he
about
was
1.3.
Arguably the defining actor in the defining role in Hollywood history.
No, but
How
it
would
was
you
a
be
very
able to
popular series.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, I was being sarcastic.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, but yeah, so but he made a profit technically. It made $1.8 million US in US and Canada. So elsewhere, presumably, some people went to see it,
Broke
and it
even.
made more film. Yeah, more film, more bank. Anyway, so yes,
And of course, you paid for it, so.
and I paid for it. I think I'm the first person to pay for it since 1975. Anyway, so that happens. Sean Connery breaks the fourth wall. Again, never explained why that's happening. Then more flying head.
Nope.
More flying Karl Marx head.
More flying head that sounds like a sexual position.
Well, yeah, but flying Karl Marx head sounds like a political sexual thing. So
It does.
this
how
could
left
be
wingers have
could
sex.
be some sort of psychedelic USSR propaganda thing going on right now. Who knows? Who knows what this was? Anyway, so that happens as the credits roll. The credits go on forever. By
Next
the way.
to it.
Yeah, he flies like essentially through the credits because this film's really well put together. You then see this scene, which is amazing. Do you want to explain what this is, Krista?
Yeah, suddenly you go from so you get floating head to
That's
flying
what she
stone
said.
head to guns shooting out and people. Sean Connery aims a gun at you. More floating stone head, and then suddenly Sean Connery inexplicably is inside sand. And you're like, where the fuck is this? And then when it pops up, you realize from the image where you are that he got inside the head, but you have no idea how he got in there or why is he in sand.
Why is there
just
sand
like, what
inside
the
Karl
fuck?
Marx's head? What is going on here? This is crazy talk.
No explanation.
And as
It's
you can
just
see,
happening.
Tasteful editing by myself.
Yes,
The little
yes.
black squares
And
do not appear in the film. I had to put these together. I spent an afternoon editing these fucking photographs. It was an afternoon of productivity and complete time wasting at the same time. Imagine that
you see
combination.
Impact Suspect in the chat is saying it's grain, not sand. See, that is also not explained.
Yeah.
I don't. It just looks like brown.
It's supposed to
well,
be.
Also, I was looking.
Yeah, it's supposed to be grain because they're collecting the food from the brutals to take to the immortals. Is the point, right? But
But they didn't
that's
bring
clearly
any food
sand.
that we saw.
It's clearly sand, right? It's not grain. And then they've got like two little piles of potatoes, and that's it. This film costs so much money, and yet it's so shit.
Yes, and as he comes up out of the grain, whatever. To be fair, I had to watch it via Kevin's Zoom, so it was a little bit grainy for me.
No, but to be fair, it's a little bit grainy in general. It's 1974 shit celluloid. Like the pictures are not great.
That's true. And then there are random naked people in their original packaging dotted around the room.
Yeah.
Why? No idea.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to get to the fact that the brutals were forced to grow it in a second. There's some sort of... the film doesn't put any kind of effort into thematics. I have. Which I've put more effort into this film than the filmmakers themselves, which is,
Yes.
Anyway, so
it's either visuals or exposition dump.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so this is just visuals. And again, we're about 5 minutes into the film, and the main character, James fucking Bond, has not said anything.
No. He pointed a gun at us.
Pointed a gun at us.
Viewer, but
hasn't
no
said a word.
dialogue.
Then this happens.
Yeah, he goes and just again, this is really just gratuitous nudity for the sake of it.
This film is solid, gratuitous nipple, cock, minge, and arse action. All over.
I guess
the
this
shop.
is the 1970s version of being edgy.
I think so, yeah. I mean, because we do get a gay kiss later as well. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not explained yet why these people are in plastic packaging. It's not really explained later why, but at least they give a kind of vague
or why they're in the head.
Yeah, why they're inside the head that's flying around. Why the head is flying around. None of it. Anyway, so he's looking at tits, because, that's good.
I mean, maybe this was one of the things he's like, okay, for $2,000 and looking at tits. All right, yeah, I'll do it for that.
Yeah, he was like, $200,000, that's not enough. What about if we throw in loads of tits for you? Go on then. Yeah.
That might have been the deal. When I put him over the top. Tits are
always on the Sean Connery rider for any film, I think. Anyway, so he looks at tits. Still hasn't said a word. Doesn't say like you could do a kind of exposition and get him to act a bit here by saying, "Why are these people in the plastic?
Yes.
Whoa, crazy or whatever."
No,
right? But nothing. Doesn't say a damn word.
No.
Just looks at.
You
tits.
just follow him around.
Then the fucking headless guy from before, who we don't know who he is
well,
yet.
he was bodiless.
So
guy.
bodiless? No, yeah, the head was the only bit there. I got that completely wrong. The flying head with a not suspiciously cut off at the neck in a straight line at all from before appears, and James Bond shoots him. Kristi.
Yes, but only in the arm.
But only in the arm.
But only in the arm.
Yeah,
and then he has
he
monologues.
Effects budget for like a chest wound.
No, apparently not. And I'm looking at him going, hey, he's only shot in the arm. He's got one good arm. He's monologuing, so he's fine. He's just going to step back into the mouth because, that would be the obvious thing to do. If you've got time to monologue, you should have time to just throw your body weight forward. But you want to say what happens instead?
He does a really convincing and not at all hammily acted fall. It's really, yeah, exactly. It's so believable.
The first of many.
It didn't take me out of the moment at all. It's fine. And again, the point here is that this character, Arthur Frayne, is playing Zardoz. Zardoz isn't real. Zardoz is a fake god that he has created to get the brutals to give them food so that the immortals can eat the food and live. Right? That's the basic gist.
You are explaining things too early.
Well, I object. I'm just going to give them that so that I can explain the pretentiousness of the fact that it's the Jordan Peterson thing of a man who discovers the truth kills God. Dun dun dun. Like, it's just wank. Jesus.
That is true.
Anyway.
So yes, he shoots him without a word. Doesn't ask him anything. There's no, and then the guy just monologues and goes, ah.
Yeah,
and
in what is more kind of exposition, really. Then there's more flying head, more flying Karl Marx there. All good. More tits for no reason.
Have a wild guess.
Well, I'm not putting tits 3 times. You know what it is. Anyway, but this scene just happens for no reason. Literally, they just they show you the flying head, the flying Karl Marx, and then tits again. Sean Connery's not even in this bit. What? Anyway, then the Karl Marx head lands in what is definitely not John Boorman's country estate in Ireland. Kristi.
Yeah, and it lands itself, by the way. It is a self-landing flying head.
Yeah, it's
so
Karl
that's
Marx,
good.
Karl Marx helicopter head, which, by the way, definitely needs to be a thing on Urban Dictionary if it's not already.
Yeah, it was the Tesla of its day.
Really. It was.
Self-driving. Self-flying.
Indeed, but its inventor wasn't a paedophile, which is just a generic insult. Anyway, right, so the floaty head thing happens and he lands. Okay. Then,
suspension of disbelief. Don't even bother trying to.
Yeah, suspension of disbelief. The set design in this, I thought we both commented on how realistic this looks.
Yeah, it doesn't look at all like styrofoam that's been painted grey.
No.
Not at all.
No, that's definitely a rock mouth. Definitely.
Yeah, so, Sean Connery descends from the mouth of Zardoz. And again, he's not saying anything. He's not going, where am I? Or how did I come to this place? No, it's just background music.
And now we're about 7 minutes in. Still hasn't said anything.
No.
The main character,
He's had no dialogue.
James fucking Bond. You've got James Bond in your film, and he hasn't said a fucking word yet. Like, it's amazing. He probably cost more to hire him than it did for like most of the rest of the cast.
Definitely.
And they
then
still
the rest
haven't
of it
had the
went
cunt say a word. They've had fucking Hammy McHam man, fucking Arthur Frayne, monologuing his arse off. But the James Bond hasn't said a word. Maybe he had a sore throat, who knows?
Also, can we point out the fact that he's got painted orange shotgun shells around him, but he's carrying a revolver?
Yeah, so he's got shotgun shells and doesn't own a shotgun, it seems.
Right.
Even though they were Zardoz vomited loads of them earlier, but he doesn't have one.
Yes.
So it's pointless.
Didn't grab one.
Anyway, so he then goes. Is what is sort of exposition and a bit visual, I suppose. They're in some sort of flower producing area and some sort of weed farm.
Hydroponic setup.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of the money in this movie went on the set, which involved buying shit tons of plastic, reflective materials, making the masks and the floating head, and bed sheets. From what I can see.
Sheets. Yeah.
Lots of bed sheets.
Yeah.
And not just like solid color, like 1970s print bed sheets.
Oh yeah, its chintz levels are off the charts.
Oh, it's so cheap. It's so cheap.
Anyway, so that happens. He then goes upstairs via the advanced 2029 technology of a door. Yeah, he finds a door. And he then finds this ring that he's holding in his hand, which has a projecting thing, like an overhead projector. That's the advanced technology they have in the future.
Yes.
Anyway.
And if I could just on the one hand, he's supposed to be in the future, and he finds this amazing technology that's this ring that speaks, and it also projects, kind of like in a Minority Report.
Yeah.
Initial screenless display, and yet it looks like medieval at the same time. Like, it's not very advanced at all.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a contradiction.
It's sort of post-apocalyptic, but again, it's never explained what the apocalypse was or how it affected anything. So, like you say, it's a mixture of medieval England and future Ireland or something. I don't know. Anyway, so
agrarian plus massive technology.
Yes. Yeah, they're still having to grow like wheat and stuff, but they've also transcended consciousness or something. What? Anyway, so this happens. It's not really explained what any of this means. I think this is supposed to be like spooky foreshadowing or something, and as well as kind of exposition, but it's nothing. And Sean Connery still hasn't said a fucking word at all.
Nope.
Then there are giant condoms.
Just in the back room, back of the house.
Back of the house, back of John Borman's house. Just massive condoms, as you do. Naturally.
And also the pyramid to make it look very futuristic.
Yeah, the pyramid comes in later because there's, one underrepresented element of this film was the amazing falling acting involved in this film. We'll get onto it later. Anyway, so then Sean Connery has this really weird bit where he's talking to talking to the ring, who can answer questions. And he asks, "What is this?" It's a flower. What kind of flower? Daffodil or some shit.
Decorative.
Which is that's almost like they're trying to do exposition without doing it. That's although they attempted for once to have a piece of dialogue where they don't directly say, "Oh, the ring can answer questions and talk to you and stuff," without literally saying that. But they did like the minimum possible version of that.
Also, that was like his some of his first dialogue is to ask about the flowers.
Yeah.
Not where am I? Yeah. Not what is this place?
Nope.
No.
Flowers.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not being proud at all.
That's a great shot.
Anyway, then tits.
Of course.
Naturally, that's just a naked woman on a horse with tits. It's never explained. Why she doesn't have any clothing on? It is explained later.
Warm in Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we said this, didn't we? That 2 days a year it's warm enough to film naked in Ireland is when they shot this film. Clearly. So the tits are out naturally, and then Sean Connery runs towards the naked lady, and she rides away.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at this point,
dynamic stuff.
what the fuck is going on in this movie? Who is this person? Who are these people? Why is he here?
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just you're looking at moving pictures and with some music in the background.
Yeah.
And you learn about daffodils.
Well, yeah, we're like 10 minutes in. He said 2 lines and tried to chase a naked lady who ran away. That's, yeah. Karl Marx's flying head is starting to look like good filmmaking at this point, by comparison. Anyway, there's then this weird-ass scene where, I don't know what the visual style they were going for, but it's kind of a hippie freak-out thing where this woman uses her mind to blind him and he drops his gun into the lake, but then he has his gun later. Look how he's dressed.
Mm-hmm. Just look at that scene. Yes.
That's look at that amazing scenery, and they had James Bond dress up like a twat. Look at the thigh-high boots on the man. Jesus.
Yeah, I was admiring the thigh-high boots. I have some that go over the knee, but they don't go up to my mid-thigh like that.
Well, more's the pity. Although, yes, to be honest, you're short enough where a normal pair of like knee-high boots would probably do that, wouldn't they?
They're not waders. They're actually like high heel boots that go over my knee. They're pretty hot, actually. They're painful to wear, but they're pretty hot.
Yeah, so this is the first proper interaction he has with one of the immortals, who's like scared that he's there or something, and so then takes him to a room where, hang on, do I not have the room scene? Where's the room scene? There we go. Look at the editing I had to do on this bastard. Jesus. Anyway, so they take him to that room where they can explain memories, and that's him with his friends, all dressed the same, shooting poor people, basically.
Yes, also content warning for sexual assault.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Because they've got a visualization screen. They got their money's worth out of the projector in this film. That's a memory of him raping a woman on the beach.
So basically, we've been introduced to Sean Connery. He's sort of like our protagonist. He's the person that we're meant to follow the story with. And when we learn about him, he's with a bunch of people who love guns. And then what we learn about him first is that he is a sociopathic killer and a violent rapist.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
So...
and that's the woman he meets on the right there, and then on the left there is the whitest woman called Consuela that's ever existed.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a thing anyway. So you then see this amazing piece of footage where they explain that they went from killing the other brutals to enslaving them and making them farm. And then there's a bit where the guy falls over, and Sean Connery, with absolutely no passion for this performance whatsoever, pulls out a gun and just shoots him like he's swatting a fly.
Yeah, like no second chances whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, I tripped over a bit of boggy land. No. And then again, remember that they were given a ton of guns to kill these people off, but they also need them for farming. I don't understand.
Yeah, this film's really well thought through, isn't it?
Or not at all.
They put a lot of work into the plot. So that happens, and Sean Connery, you can tell, knows this is a pile of shit and puts like zero effort into his performance. Anyway, then they go back to here and they're discussing Arthur Frayne, because they didn't know that Arthur Frayne had forced these people to.
Sorry, I'm laughing at I'm laughing at your blackout text.
Thank you. It was possibly Minge. I couldn't tell, so I'm not taking chances. Okay, I'm not getting fucking struck down for indeterminate minge. Okay. Anyway, so Consuela and the other one.
Evan, your blackout. They should do your whole movie with your stuff in it because it's so much better than actually Zardoz by itself.
Okay. Right. So, Consuela and May are the two characters there.
Yes, May is an orange.
Are discussing Arthur Frayne, who they didn't know, or secretly knew, but weren't accepting the idea that they were enslaving these people for the bread that they were eating, right? The grain, the potatoes, and all of that. And Arthur Frayne's been terrible and awful. That's bad. Again, it's so hackneyed. The entire film is shit. And then there's a fucking fetus in a plastic bag.
That's Arthur.
Because it's explained to us that when a person gets killed, because these people are immortal, so if they get killed, they're reborn in plastic, which is why those people are on the outside of the glass that I have to fucking edit a dozen times. And this...
Can I just point out?
Yeah, go for it.
When you're done. Well, it's just they keep asking him. They ask the computer like, "What happened to Arthur?" And it says, "I can't recall that." And then they try to go to Sean Connery's memory to pull it up, and for some reason they're frustrated at that too. But they know that Arthur went out in the floating head, and that he didn't come back, and Sean Connery arrived the same time the floating head returned. They can't put fucking 2 and 2 together, and now Arthur's dead. Obviously, these things are connected. But according to them, like, ew, if I can't watch it on somebody's memory, I can't make inferential deduction. I can't infer anything from evidence that I have available.
Indeed. So I literally, I was aghast when I saw fetus in a bag. But I remembered this is 1974, and the boil-up fetus in a bag was the most advanced way of cooking a fetus. This was before the invention of the microwavable baby, of course. So that's a thing. I had to do that joke. They put a fetus in a bag, Kristi. How could I not?
You don't have a really anti-choice movement, so you've never seen the fetus key rings that they give out or whatever, do you?
Well, we have a few.
This is something
that you get people who have like the billboards in the centre of town with like the here's a massive picture of a dead baby. What? Yeah.
Oh, no. You see, they would, these anti-choice people, the religious groups would go around, or they'd stand outside of schools, or they would show up at our senators, like when I worked in the legislature, they would show up at our office with a box full of little plastic fetuses that were about the size of a thumb. And they would hand them out to like make you realize, oh, you know, a baby could be killed. And then my friend just put one on the end of his pencil. He thought it was
what up the baby's arse? Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So that's what it reminded me of, was the little plastic fetus dolls.
Because I was joking about boiling babies and stuff. That's just, oh God. Anyway, yeah, so that happens. That's not the only weird thing.
Oh, right. Because they're immortal, so that when you die, somehow magically,
they get reborn.
They grow you back, and you have all your memories.
Yeah.
Don't know how that works.
Yeah. That's why those naked
actually,
people
I could probably
outside,
infer it from second-level meditation, but
yeah, they're regrowing. That's what those people are, and not at all extras who they got to be naked and lie on glass.
Yeah, just for the sake of it.
Yeah. So fetus in a bag. Then there's this very, very well put together set, which is an orange room with some sheets. That's it.
They only spent 50 quid on the on the material for this room. Paint, green screen, and a bit of white sheets and cones.
Yeah. Then a weird shaped screen, because it's the future, you understand. They would have weird shaped screens, and they project some things on it. We get to see the rape again. Naturally,
because that's a gratuitous sexual assault as well as boobs.
Yes.
You can basically tell how there was really no idea of the fact that, like, God, how do you, like, 70s sexuality was there, James Bond was still slapping women at this point, and there was no place, in America, I think that marital rape was illegal yet, and it just kind of really hit me the way that there is, they deliberately link violence and sex in this movie, and in a really super casual way. Super casual, like, the rape, pillage, and plunder is now kind of like pillage and plunder, but no, they want to put the rape part back right in there, front and center.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's a violently misogynist film. It just is. Even though there are, like I say, kind of pseudo-feminist bits within it, but I mean, it's scant at best. So,
women are put in positions of power, but then they're also immediately demeaned by being sexualized by Sean Connery.
And the other characters.
They're eye candy. Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, so in this bit, they're projecting things on the back screen there that show the immortals, who are these higher people who've like gone past human consciousness. They're immortal. They've transcended.
They've evolved.
Yeah, indeed. Yes. Whereas they could literally refer to Sean Connery as a beast and an animal, because he's just a mortal human being who, has these base needs and desires and things. Although the rape thing we'll get into a little bit later. Again, that's not a sentence you want to hear, but it's a thing that happens. So then this guy who's the Frame.
Friend.
That's
Friend.
Friend. Fuck's
Yes.
sake, Kev. Yes, Friend.
He's just called Friend.
Who
Yes.
is
Friend and Arthur. Arthur.
Yeah,
and
okay,
Friend.
Arthur and Friend. Okay, Friend, who is, I think, probably too embarrassing an actor for Amdram. Hammy motherfucker, absolutely one of the worst things in the film. It made me angry. Decides to walk around and do a kind of weird monologue where he's talking to his old friend, beast, animal, my friend. Bit like it's so. This film couldn't be further up its own arse if it tried.
Yeah, and I can't tell if he's camp or bi.
I don't know, and yeah, it could just be 1974's artsiness or something. I don't know. It could
Yes.
look. There's a strong kind of hippie vibe that goes on, even though there's like a rape and pillage and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, so that he's one of the protagonists. He's shit. I don't know how else to say it. He's not good at acting.
He didn't have a lot to work with, to be fair.
No, to be fair, yeah, they are working on scraps here, but he was wank. Like nothing was believable anyway. I mean, none of them
I
did
guess-
great work, but it's impossible given the material, I suppose. Anyway,
If I'm going to be charitable to whatever actor this is, I think at least his character sort of
John Alderton
was the one. Yes, John Alderton, who best captured the almost like the nihilism of it being immortal. He was bored to fucking death. He best conveyed the idea that if you can live forever, eventually everything becomes meaningless because you've done it all, you've seen it all, there's nothing left to do, and now you're just trapped doing the same fucking thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
And as we know in Europe, well, at least, in Britain, maybe in Ireland too, there's nothing worse than being bored. Like, being boring is a terrible insult. Like, magnitudes of order worse than in America. In America, being bored is an inconvenience. In Britain, being bored is a sin.
Yes.
Like, if you're boring, it's a sin. Yeah.
Indeed. And that's basically that character. That's one of the few occasions in this film where a character's underlying feelings and attitudes actually informs their actions.
Yes,
it's a
I
thing.
think he's the only one.
It's one of the few bits of actual character development or whatever that takes place in the entire film.
Yes.
But even so, shit actor. Sorry, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change my mind on that. I watched this film, and I'm sure I've seen him in other things. Anyway, yeah, they keep Sean Connery in a cage because he's an animal. You see.
Yes,
That's
and even though they're incredibly advanced, they couldn't afford cars, so they have to use horses because apparently, I don't know, maybe he got a deal on horses from somebody down the road.
Well, he owns an estate in Ireland. Presumably, he has horses. So he was like, I'm not paying for cars. Fuck off. I've spent all this money on LSD. The fuck? No, we've got horses around the back. It's fine. Anyway.
Yeah. I think a lot of money went on weed, coke, and LSD.
We then took this screenshot because we paused it at the film at one point, and it's just a mental-looking goat.
Yeah, we just happened to pause it. I was like, you have to get this picture.
Yeah, look at how fucking strange that goat looks.
Sums it up.
Face doesn't work.
Yoga.
The fuck? Mental fucking goat. And look at that goat in the background. It's like, don't trust him. He's
That
fucking...
should have been the-
Seriously, he will fucking mess you up, man. He's crazy. Anyway, so Mad Goat. There's then this scene where Friend talks to the Beast and explains that you've heard the phrase "looks can kill." Well, in this world, they can.
Yeah, I mean, John Borman's idea of dialogue is don't show it, tell it.
Yeah.
And then what you show doesn't advance the plot. It's just there to look at. And everyone wears macrame. They make their own clothing, apparently.
Yes.
So that's also a 70s thing.
Yeah. It's awful. Yeah, basically they've got mind powers. That's the bit. And again, rather than showing that, he just says, yeah, we can kill people with our minds. Okay. I mean...
I bet they went to a boot sale and bought all the wardrobe from boot sales.
Probably so. Anyway,
and Sean Connery looks like naked in that picture.
He does look naked in that
naked.
picture. And apologies for people who are thinking, why are all these screens weird? Why is there a blackened bar at the top and the bottom? They filmed it in some weird aspect to 1974 ratio. So literally the screen is flat and elongated. like kind of widescreen but not, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so this is like the full screen. That's how it looked. Anyway.
Yes. Otherwise, they'd have to fit it to the screen and pan and scan, and that's terrible. So
yeah, exactly.
Better to have the black bars.
Indeed. So you then get this scene where friend is taking the beast, and apparently he takes care of the antiquities, because in the vortex, which is the separated bit where the immortals live away from the brutals, they've collected all of the knowledge of Western civilization and mankind and blah blah blah. So for some reason they've got all of
racism,
all of the antiquities in a place. Yeah, there is. I mean, there is a lot of kind of Western chauvinism going on in this film.
Oh yeah.
But he takes care of antiquities, but later on you also see does bread deliveries. So what is this man's fucking job? He's the head of a museum, but also a bakery delivery driver. What? What kind of system of organisation and fucking... what? None of this makes sense.
No, none of it.
Anyway.
It's just a thing that happens.
Yes, that's Sean Connery in an orange loincloth holding an antiquity or something. Anyway. Then there's this amazing falling scene where Consuela takes James Bond to the glass pyramid. No,
May.
Oh, May, apologies.
May,
yeah.
The scientist.
Yeah, the scientist, yeah, obviously. Obviously, yeah, this is very science.
Mm-hmm.
And he does a really, really convincing fall, doesn't he?
Yeah, by the way, just so you know, your connection is dropping from time to time. I don't know if you want to put in your landline as opposed to using your wireless.
It's over there. I can't be bothered. I need to get it hooked up.
Okay, well...
Anyway.
It might drop out from time to time. Just bear with us, folks. Okay.
I'm only dropping 0.4% of frames, Christy, so behave yourself.
Well, I'm looking at your little light in your OBS, and sometimes it goes yellow and red. So that's all.
It does that. It doesn't make any difference. A lot of bollocks.
Yeah, you say that. Okay. Anyway, we're getting distracted.
Apparently, it's anamorphic lenses in widescreen format.
Oh, thank you, CinemaScope. Thank you, chat. Filling our gaps in the knowledge. And goats are evil, according to Tony.
Goats aren't evil.
So, yes,
reject that paradigm. But yeah, there's an amazing piece of physical acting from James Bond.
Honestly, the worst pretend to fall ever. It's not like he sort of like actually fell into the space. He kind of pretends to fall slowly. Like, is he supposed to be going down a slide? Is that what? I don't understand.
I think so. I think that's what's happening. He steps into it and then goes whoa and falls. Amazing. Genuinely one of the worst pieces of physical acting ever in one of the worst films ever. Anyway, so they cut away to this dinner scene and they've got green bread because it's the future, you see. They've got green bread as opposed to normal
green
bread.
Is made of people.
Yeah, Soylent Green bread. But anyway, they've got green bread because why not? It's the 70s. Who cares? Mm-hmm. They're back in this fucking room again.
Yeah.
More editing for Kev. And she's doing scientific experiments trying to work out how the beast operates because the immortals, even though they've transcended consciousness, don't know how humans work. So they're trying to analyse the human to see how it works. Anyway, there's then this weird bit where this is the guy on screen in the projector that they get their money's worth out of is on trial, right?
Yes.
Because you learn
for wrong thing.
Yeah, for wrong thing. You explain that element of it, Krista.
Well, you see, he mentioned something about what was it called? Not second level? Something like that. And he has these thoughts and they're supposed to be like productive and corrective. And he's on trial for having these thoughts that he has during second level meditation. Yes. So you kind of are introduced to this idea that the collective regulates the thoughts of individuals.
Yes, and the punishment for
and
those.
Did friend take him to the OAP place?
Not
Did
yet.
You have that
Not yet.
Scene?
It does happen, but it hasn't happened yet. No.
Okay.
But anyway, yes.
Yes.
And the punishment for these thought crimes is not imprisonment or anything. You get aged. So if you can get aged by 6 months or a year, or whatever, and that they eventually compile up until you get old, and we'll get to that. Anyway, we'll get to that now, because as we said, Friend
Yes.
is collects and keeps, like, he's the keeper of the antiquities in the museum slash storeroom that they keep those in, but also does bread deliveries using humans as
it's
cart
a rota.
horses.
It's a rota system. They all have to do their bit. And he just caught him on the week when he was taking the bread to. Yes, where all of these people who have been condemned to be aged but not allowed to die, so they're trapped in their old bodies, are put into like an old age person's home.
They're called renegades, the people, but because they were so renegade, they've been aged so regularly because of their crimes that they're now OAPs and can't remember everything. So a cart has to go into the thing with bread that feeds them, because they can live on just bread. Bread is fine. Anyway, and Friend is being dragged around by James Bond. Okay.
Yep. Yes, he's pulling them like a rickshaw. I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, but it's a cart. So he's using Sean Connery as a cart horse, which is fun.
Yes.
Because in case you didn't get the thing, they're an animal, you see. It's very subtle. They then go through what is obviously the local town in Ireland, next to where John Borman lives in Ireland. Anyway, and then there are these people called the apathetics, who, it's never really explained why, but for some reason become apathetic to the whole situation and become in a kind of catatonic state. Christo.
Correct. So they basically become so bored of life that they just zone out.
Yeah.
But they're young, and they can't kill them, so they just put them in a barn and bring them bread occasionally.
They bring them bread.
That's that.
Just this little village town thing, and they bring them bread. Now they're in that weird barn place with the apathetics or whatever, and Friend is showing the trial of that other guy on the ring / projector, because again they get their money's worth, and what is obviously just a sheet of glass that they're both looking at there with the projection on it. Anyway, but it's 1974, Kev, don't get hung up on it. That happens, and you find that Friend...
they all have to vote.
Yeah, they all have to they all have to vote, and you find Friend's something of a renegade himself. Circle time. What?
Yeah, that means when it's circle time, that's when your connection is shut down, and then on YouTube it just spins in a black circle until you come back. I've watched your videos before, so I know.
How dare
but we're back
you?
now because it's green.
How dare you? Anyway.
So you're going to have to go back and talk about Friend being a 1984 ripoff.
So the Friend character there is sort of a ripoff of 1984's Arthur Smith, the main protagonist in the fantastic Orwell book. And that's referenced in the movie poster where it says Beyond 1984, Beyond 2001, which is the reference to, I believe, the Space Odyssey, the flick by Stanley Kubrick. Anyway, so you get the idea. It's the renegades against the system, and it's sort of sci-fi-y. Yeah, okay, we get the fucking idea. Anyway,
this movie is so derivative of much better works.
Yeah, it's a really piss-poor amalgam of different bits of good media.
Yes.
Anyway, so Arthur Friend votes not guilty on the trial of this dude. He gets convicted anyway because he was clearly guilty under whatever the laws are of this time and place, and gets aged by, was it 5 years or 6 years or something? Anyway, who cares? It doesn't really matter. There's then, again, content warning, another attempted rape. That happens. Friend.
Yeah, he finds... Yes. Well, Sean Connery finds one of the apathetics very physically attractive, and Friend just sort of encourages him to do what he wants. So he takes her over, and he's gonna he throws her on some hay because he's a brute and a sexual predator. Yes. And that's our hero.
That's the hero of the story. Although he goes on a journey, Krista. You can't deny that much. But anyway, it's
right. He evolves.
He does. Anyway, so yes, and Friend, it sums up his nihilism, that he doesn't really care what happens to these people, and so he says basically, yeah, go for it, rape away, my dude, or words to that effect. Anyway, and he throws her on the hay, and he's going to rape her. But then, in what is, I think, one of the few bits of actual feminist, I don't know, underpinnings to something here, he doesn't actually go through with the rape because he's not turned on because she doesn't resist, which sums up the point that it's not about sex, it's about power, and the fact that he doesn't have power over this woman because she's not resisting means he's no longer sexually attracted.
Right. So then what he does instead is he just chucks her in the hay like a fucking rag doll. So he's not showing her any respect or like growing. He's just like, oh, this doesn't turn me on.
Yeah,
I'll just chuck her away.
But then in a really dynamic thing, he gets really angry and throws a barrel.
Yes. What does that say? Wardrobe malfunction. Your comments are the best part of this.
There was a stray nipple. It had to be dealt with. But anyway, so yeah, because I can show male nipples, but female nipples are beyond the pale, according to YouTube.
Correct.
Anyway,
they're dangerous.
They are dangerous. If nipples could kill, they would. Okay. Anyway, so he throws a barrel. It's very dynamic filmmaking, honest. Then this happens. I've tastefully edited this. This little sequence.
Yeah, you want to describe this scene?
This is amazing.
Back in the orange room.
Yeah, Consuela is describing to the other people sexual arousal, because these people have transcended sex, the need for sex. They don't need to reproduce, so they don't need to have sex. And it's debasing anyway. It's terrible. Sex is awful. In case you didn't get the kind of weird, kind of anti-humanist, anti-secularist vibe from the film. And so on the projection on the back, soapy tits.
Well, wait. You're kind of okay. So sorry, I have to go back a little bit. Consuela does this really unnecessary exposition, explaining to people who already know that they don't understand how a flaccid penis, which is a drawing of a penis, becomes an erect penis, and then they have like two other stages of the drawings where they draw the penis in an erect state. And then she said something along the lines of, to people, who are all Eternals and know this, presumably, that as they evolved, they no longer had the need to procreate. And so then they lost their sexual drives to the point where they said the Eternals can't get erections, as if women, I guess, just don't exist. It's all about the penis.
Yeah.
Women's sexuality is just an afterthought.
Yeah. Even though the penis is evil. If penises could kill, they would.
Yes, the penis is evil and shoots seed.
As someone points out, that's a fantastic line. Beyond 1984, beyond 2001, but before Viagra somehow. Yeah.
Yes. So in order to understand, they're fascinated by the idea that the Brittles can still have spontaneous erections, and they want to know if they can induce they do this as a group as well, which makes it really fucking even weirder. They want to see if they can induce him to have an erection in front of them. And they show him soapy tits. It's literally soapy tits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Soapy tits. Which again,
and the lines that you see are him looking back and forth to the nipples.
Yeah, but I've tastefully edited the nipples out. You can't see them.
Thank you.
Anyway, and then there's also naked mud wrestling.
Yes, for some reason, after the soapy tits, they show him mud wrestling. Oh, and by the way, looking at these images produces no physiological response. He just looks at the tits and looks at the naked mud wrestling, and doesn't get a hard on. And people are like looking at his
mud wrestling, because again, as you can tell by the word possibly there, I couldn't tell what was and wasn't rude here. I don't know.
It's kind of. Yeah, it's very 1970s that they can show a rape scene, but they can't show actual, like, two people having enjoyable sex.
No, well, women don't enjoy sex.
I'm just pointing that out.
It doesn't exist. The female orgasm is a myth, Krista. as our God and Saviour Ben Shapiro told us. Anyway.
Wet ass P word.
Oh, I've got some for the next proper happy hour. I've got some a collection of some of the funniest comments on our Ben Shapiro stuff of late. Some of them are amazing. Anyway, so yeah, that happens. And then she becomes so frustrated with him and so angry that he gets an erection.
Well, I didn't get that vibe. At least my impression was he wasn't excited by the images of the breasts, but when he looked at her in person, then he got a hard on looking at her, and then everyone just sort of like giggled and went, ha ha ha, he likes Consuela, ha ha ha, he got an erection from her, and she feels very embarrassed.
True, but I think it's more the fact that she's like, I I don't know, angry at him or something. That, like, that's a part of the thing, like, oh, he's a sexually aggressive character, so he likes aggression. Aggression gets him off, I think, is the point or something. Anyway.
Okay, well, I mean, that's one way to read it.
Yeah.
By the way, also, you're peaking a bit, so you might want to bring your mic auxiliary down a tad bit. Just because I don't want, you to be distorted.
Anyway, there's in this bit where the scientist tries to do a thing where she's like speaking into the ring going, humans need to sleep. We have transcended sleep. We are doing expropriation. I'm going to test his his reflexes. Exposition, sorry. I'm going to test his reflexes when he's asleep. Puts her hand in the thing. Boom! Grabs her arm. He wasn't asleep at all. Oh, he got you, bitch. Anyway.
See, it's always about like the male dominance, even when women are in positions of power. Ultimately, they're going to bow down.
Yeah.
Down to their male masters.
And ultimately,
it's like Milo Yiannopoulos.
Indeed, he lets her go because he's a vengeful.
And smiles cheekily at her.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. Although to be fair, in this instance, he's being kept in a cage. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a rapist. He's a crazy motherfucker. But in this instance, I can get why he would be a bit of a cunt because he is in a cage. Anyway, so she then says like, "Do you enjoy sleep?" And he says, "Yes." And she goes, "Why?" "I have dreams." That's a piece of dialogue that happens in this film.
How does that advance the plot? It doesn't. It doesn't. Nothing in this really. They kind of advance the plot accidentally, just by needing to have things happen on screen, I think.
Yeah. So she then back at the dinner table. Oh yeah, and he says yes. Sleep is closely connected with death is another thing, which isn't true. But there we go. Doesn't matter.
Yes.
So we go back to the dinner table and they discuss Zed's destruction. Zed, by the way, is the James Bond. Is Sean Connery's character, Zed, after Zardoz, because he's a follower of Zardoz. Or was he? Ooh, foreshadowing, Kev.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he's called Zed, and they talk about destroying him because they want to study him for a few weeks because apparently they know everything, but they don't know how humans work, even though they were humans, because they're literally the sons and daughters of humans, like who were mortal.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but they don't understand those things, even though they grew up with them. Anyway, they talk about his destruction, and Consuelo is given 7 days to kill Zed.
Yeah, they initially gave him 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We have no sense of how much time has actually passed. It looks like an afternoon.
Yeah.
Maybe has gone by. But they've decided, actually, no, we're going to change our mind. It's really only going to be 7 days. And he's in the room. Like, they're just talking about killing him while he's there, and he's just listening.
And why does he go along with all of this? It doesn't make sense. I don't know. Anyway, they then, for literally no reason, start doing level 2 meditation, which involves them just holding their arms out and waggling their fingers. That is it.
It's kind of like, I guess it's the Borg, but a mind version of the Borg. So when they all do second level meditation, we learn that they become like a hive mind, they become one mind. And that's why that one guy was able to be sussed out for having wrong think, is because in second level meditation, even though they're all one mind, they noticed he was having bad thoughts. And so they, punished him.
And someone else was having bad thoughts. Friend.
Yep.
Who gets killed by the second level meditation or something. Who cares?
Yep.
Anyway.
They say, join us. And he's like, no, I don't want to join, become one with you. And they're like, join us. He's like, no, fuck off. I want to be just awake. And they're like, no, you must be second level. And after like 5 minutes, because everything this movie goes on.
Oh, God, this film
they go, he's irredeemable.
Yeah.
He's a renegade. He's a renegade. Let's take him down. And so they sort of like finger wag him into death or something. Sort of state.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so then Sean Connery realizes there's some hella fuckery going down. He again goes to the vortex force field, which is what keeps the brutals out. And you can't really see because this shot's really badly composed. But on the top center of the screen there are tiny dots on the hill. Those are his brutal comrades or whatever. And he's giving them some sort of signal.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the force field, and I think that smoke is supposed to be like the force field's so strong it burns the ground or something. I don't know. Anyway, and then what is definitely him pressing up against a force field and not him pressing up James Bond's mustache against the glass. That's him trying to break out of the force field. He can't do it though. He's a mere mortal.
He doesn't try to punch it.
Nope.
He just face plants on it and pushes his nose up against.
Just gonna
He's
do
like
a weird mustache face on the. That's if I had James Bond in a film, that's what I'd get him to do as well. Definitely.
Yeah, at this point, you can actually see, do a thought bubble, like, well, it's $200,000 and I get to look at boobies.
Yeah,
like you can see him consoling himself at this point.
Fuck it, it's better than unemployment, basically.
Yes.
Anyway.
I got a mortgage payment to make.
Exactly, yeah. So, anyway, he gets really angry. He goes to the OAP home, the Renegades, and finds Friend, who has been aged, but only on one side of his face because prosthetics are expensive.
Apparently. Like, why is it only half his face? Everyone else is aged normally, but he's like a zebra. He's
yeah, exactly. And that's even the hair colouring. It's only grey on one side. It's just weird and shit. Like I say, prosthetics are expensive, to be fair. So they thought, well, we can cut that problem in half. No problem.
Like, did they only have one eyebrow for him? I don't like. Why didn't they just make all his hair gray and give him some gray eyebrows? Like, that would have been fun.
Yeah, that would have been fine.
No.
Yeah, we would have gotten the point, guys. Anyway, so although considering some of the prosthetics that come later on, oh my god, this is good. But again, that's by comparison. So Friend, for his wrong thing, has been aged a bit, but he's not like fully one of the renegades. He still has some. He's still a bit compos mentis, but there are things he can't quite remember anymore. It's very convenient for everything. Anyway, so then Friend. Then they start. For some reason, the old people start attacking James Bond like a zombie horde.
Yes. And we have no idea why. A friend might have sent me and been mad at him.
Friend said
you
something.
You ruined everything.
Yeah, but why does Friend have power over the renegades now, like some magician?
No idea.
And it also looks like that old man's trying to dry fuck James Bond, which I didn't realise when I was photoshopping this. Photo cropping this. But they attack James Bond, as you do. And then, Friend takes him to see this one particular old bastard, who was the scientist who discovered immortality.
Yes, but he's also a renegade, so he's kept in a perpetual state of being really fucking old.
So he's really old. Although by this point he would be really old anyway, if he were mortal, because he was like, they show you later that he was like the guy, and this is like however many years later, like he'd be dead by now or something. And who knows? Anyway, the point is, so he takes him to and he says, "Oh, so how do I find out about the stuff?" The old guy says, "Ask May," who was the other person, the scientist woman. So a scientist tells him to ask the other scientist. Okay, I mean that's probably what a scientist would do. Ask the scientist who knows more about this shit. Okay, that's the one bit that kind of makes sense. And a person
it's just
acting
like a side
in the way
quest,
you would expect them to. It's very very strange for this film.
But it really just feels like a side quest in a D&D adventure.
And then I think that the point in the film which broke Kristi's brain was this scene.
Oh yeah.
The bed sheets.
Like, they just stand around covered in 1970s decorated bed sheets.
Yeah.
Not the fitted ones, the flat ones.
Yeah.
For a king size bed. And that's like stage props. Here, put this sheet over you.
On the right there is an actress who presumably went through years of training and hard work to get into Hollywood films and stuff, and ended up standing just on the right of the screen next to James Bond wearing a bedsheet.
Yeah, they could have just like put pieces of furniture in there.
Yeah, exactly.
But it gets better.
It does. It does get
better. The sheet usage
significantly better. Anyway, there's then this weird bit which I didn't realise again when I was photoshopping this, but I was going through earlier. It kind of looks like he's eating her out from the side there, which I didn't realise at the time. That's not what's actually happening in this scene, though. He gets under the bed sheet because apparently it wouldn't be normal for him to just go, "Can you take the bed sheet off? I need to talk to you for a bit," or something.
No.
Just be normal. No, he gets under the bed sheet, and there's a weird bit where she's trying to get into his head and says, "Tell me your story," and she wants to know all about his story, even though they've I mean, he's already basically told you the story for the most part. Anyway.
Yeah. But we get to hear it again.
We do. There's a bit where he's explaining the brutals. He's going through a town shooting folk, and he sees a man wearing a mask at a window.
Yes. Now, the masks initially in the opening scene were white, but at this point in the movie, they've all been painted orange. Don't know why.
They had all that orange paint left over from the orange room. So they thought, fuck it, we might as well use some of this orange paint we got left over. We ordered too much. I told you we ordered too much, dickhead. Anyway, so he sees the masked man at the mirror, shoots at him, misses. Then the books. Oh,
he tempts him with books.
Yeah. Even though he can't read, he learns to read by reading. Which works.
He learns to read by looking at picture books that have like the letter A and an apple.
Yeah.
And he tells her that from that he learned to read, and he just read everything. And here I'm thinking like he read Tacitus, he read, like Caesar's writings on his campaign in Gaul, he read Nietzsche, he, read the great philosophers and science books, because he was a special brutal. He was different. He could learn. Yeah. As we learn, he never left the children's section.
Nope. No, he didn't.
Because it actually says children's section on
it
the
does.
top.
It does.
Yeah, there he is learning what an M is.
M for mice. And he learns. So he's reading books and stuff. Doesn't decide to sit down at any point to read. He's just going to stand up and read. Can't afford chairs on this movie. The budget was tight. Anyway, then goes mental and rips one of the books up. Oh no! What book is it?
Oh, we don't know yet. He won't tell her what book it is. He refuses to tell her what book he was reading. And because the book made him realize that something about his own life. He read something in the book and he saw a parallel to his own being, but he won't tell her what it is.
Exactly. But then she said, "Oh, you find out," or she finds out, he shot Frayne. He shot at Arthur. Which they would have been able to know anyway, because he had a gun and Arthur was dead and he was the only person left on the fucking thing. Obviously he killed him. Like, why is that a fucking great reveal for you? Are you that stupid? What the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, so and then again it is so Petersonian. She says, "You murdered your own god."
Yes,
oh.
Yes.
If this fucker comes up with some
dragons
lobster hierarchies or some shit. Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that. Fucking hell.
Okay.
Jesus. Anyway, so yeah.
The Dragon of Chaos.
Yeah, so then you find out the book.
Zardoz.
The book was The Wizard of Oz. That was the book that revealed everything to him.
Yes, and the man behind the curtain.
The most hackneyed phrasing thing in the history of the world, which they even have to show you on the fucking screen, is that the reason it's called Zardoz is because it's Wizard of Oz. Zardoz. Zardoz. If a 10-year-old came to me with that, I would slap them. I would fucking slap them in the face for being so fucking stupid. In Minecraft, of course. What as if they put this shit in a film.
I can't believe John Borman thought this shit was deep. Yeah. Like, he's like, yeah, that's it.
What a fucking load of old crap.
Like, that was the reveal. It's the Wizard of Oz.
Fuck. When this happened, when we were watching this film and that happened, I was like, oh, you cunts. How fucking dare you? How dare you sit there and insult the viewers' fucking intelligence like that, you prick.
Also, can I just point out the realism of the dirt under Sean Connery's nails?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. He's like a brutal murderer who goes around on beaches.
Yeah. But his cuticles are very well maintained.
For 1974, spectacular. Absolutely. Anyway, so that's the big reveal. Is the Wizard of Oz and the man behind the thing, like you say. It's blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's a reason why that's relevant and clever, in theory. Later.
Well.
Yeah. Anyway, so Zardoz. There's then explains. The whole thing about grain, even though is that grain or is it sand? It might be grain, I don't know. Anyway, it then explains the plan, right? He understands, so he gets his comrades to dig him into the grain and then kills Zardoz.
Give him a gun.
Because he's gone mental.
Can I just ask?
Go on.
Yeah, is there any reason they couldn't actually put that scene in the beginning? Like, what would have been different about this movie if they would have hid him in the grain and then let him pop out of it. What in
They
the
wanted
plot
the
line
big
would have
reveal,
changed?
I think. I don't know.
What?
I've nothing.
Yeah, I
Kristi,
guess.
all of the scenes in this film could have been cut from the film, and it wouldn't have changed anything. All of it, virtually. There's no storyline. There's nothing. It's rubbish. Anyway, so that happens.
No,
and
it's stream of consciousness.
This is stream of consciousness, like gone mental, because it then cuts to him going mental in what? Look, it says there, children's books. And he's going fucking mental, like dragging all the books off the shelves. He's been lied to. Zardoz was a lie.
Leave Watership down alone.
My God is dead. No. Is the basic gist, right?
Yes.
And then there's a weird tug of war bit with the sheet.
With Consuela, the whitest Consuela ever.
With the whitest Consuela ever and a singular tit. In case you didn't realise there.
Yes, boob comes out, just randomly.
Yeah, naturally. And she was like, "Oh, you're fucking him, are you?" Or words to that effect. And they weren't. They were just talking and shit. And there's a tug of war, which I think is supposed to be the power of wills between the Consuela, who's standing for the system, for now. Foreshadowing, and the renegade man who's going to take the system down. But it's literally just them doing tug of war with a fucking blanket, like.
Sorry, with a 1970s patterned bed sheet.
Yes.
We didn't have this exact pattern, but we had growing up. I had bed sheets in these colors of avocado and orange. It was a terrible color palette decade.
You grew up in Wisconsin
generally.
with that shit. I mean, you were abused, frankly. Right.
We had an avocado colored oven and I think a matching fridge.
Yeah. There's then. Hang on, sorry. There's then a third attempted rape, which I didn't take a screenshot of, but it kind of an attempted rape of Consuela. Which doesn't go anywhere, and then she blinds him with her mind powers.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean there are 3 attempted rapes in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Anyway.
Too many.
Then there's a scene where
you could have taken them all out, and again, no plot change.
Yeah. There's then another thing where they're in the hydroponics, in the plastic, talking about stuff.
In the plastic.
It's just plastic, but apparently it's like completely unbreakable plastic. Yeah, and then they use the phrase you raped an old woman in a wet ditch. Which is a really strange phrase to use. I don't know why I made a note of that. Well, other than the fact it's a weird sentence. It's very
Yet
strange.
another sexual assault that's completely gratuitous and
Yeah.
does nothing other than make me hate Sean Connery's character.
Yeah. Yeah, even though he's supposed to be the hero. But the thing is, he doesn't really go on a journey. He just becomes more knowledgeable. That's it. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
He doesn't do anything redemptive.
Yeah, they then explain this. This is the vortex. With again, they get their money's worth out of the projector because that doesn't need to be there. The basic point is the immortals there on the left are walking past in paradise, and there's the dirty paws on the outside who can't get in. Okay, like we get it. You've already explained this bit. This is superfluous nonsense as always. Look how poor they are, Kristi. They're dirty.
And how Irish. Look how Irish
They are very Irish. To be fair, they are Irish. Almost certainly.
Yeah. Yeah. But the overarching plot of The Kingsman, that Samuel L. Jackson basically wants to get like the best people in the world and start over again. It's basically that. Yeah. It's not just like they got the richest people. They sort of cultivated all the white people that they could. They found all the best white people they could.
The best people in the world to be put in paradise. Every one of them whiter than white.
Yes.
But there's no racism going on here. Not at all. It's
and
fine.
the only cultural things they preserve are like Western art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
they
again,
have to do more exposition at this point.
It's a Jordan Peterson wet dream.
Yes.
Anyway, so so then there's poor Irish people. Then there's the unbreakable plastic. They can't break into the. Sean Connery's in the plastic, and even though he got into the plastic, they can't get into the plastic the same way he got in. Apparently,
no. The hydroponic system.
Yeah. So it's crazy, and then he punches through what is obviously just plastic, and they're all like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" And then he's so strong. Throws flour at them, which is enough to distract them while he runs away. This film is shit.
I'll have to remember that for my D&D campaign and throw flour at people to distract them.
Yeah, indeed. Where do we go now? Yeah, he then goes to the vortex
What's
shield
next?
again, but for some reason the whatchamacallits, the other brutals, who were the fuckers on the thing again, for some reason now they're a lot closer and you can actually see them. And he's like giving them weird like semaphore signs or something, but without flags. Some sort of weird like universal fucking sign language thing. I don't know. Anyway, and then they fuck off. We don't know what he's told them or where they're going. Again,
Nope.
it's never really explained.
Nope.
Where are we? Yes, he then does what is the most convincing piece of running any actor has ever done.
Run, Forrest, run! Literally, it's just him running down this street in bare feet. That's it. That's a shot.
It's
no
amazing.
idea where it's going.
And I love the fact that
no one's even chasing him
at this point. No, and I love the fact that the one look. This is obviously like a kind of oldie world, like fucking village in Ireland, right? But to make it look futuristic, they've got that weird shiny metal thing in the background.
They put some tinfoil on it. They hung some fucking tinfoil.
So it's the future. This is clearly not like a fucking 19th century Irish village. No, this is clearly the future.
No.
Because they've got some shiny thing
got
on a pole.
Got aluminum foil, and they stapled it to bits of cardboard and then hung it from a tree.
Yep, that's fine.
1.5 million, was it? 1.2
yeah, exactly. Yeah, fucking hell. How much? They must have spent so much of this on drugs because they didn't spend it on the fucking film. Jesus. Anyway, so so Sean Connery does.
No, or on bras. They didn't spend any money on bras.
Well, technically, clearly, Tom Hanks was copying Sean Connery in the running style in that film. Because he does a very Forrest Gump run. This is the village, by the way, where the apathetics live.
Right.
Then the evil bitches arrive on horseback and start burning the place down in the most obviously not burning it down way possible, where they've got like one small fire in a doorway, and that's supposed to be the village on fire. Okay. And then this thing happens. Do you want to explain this?
Oh, I found it was sweat. For some reason, one of the apathetics decides to touch the sweat on Sean Connery's body.
Specifically, this is the one he was going to rape.
Correct. You'd think she'd stay well the fuck away from him, but no. You know, women here are just brainless and have no motivation other than to be plot advancements for guys. And she tastes it, and she suddenly like wakes up and looks excited. Yeah. And even though she's just licked her finger, she starts sharing her licked finger around with the remnants of the sweat. And what they say is that for some reason his sweat like brings them life or wakes them up, which is like why? How?
Also, I got two things from the way she's dressed as well. I got Virgin Mary vibes, which suit with the kind of pseudo-religionist thing they've got going on in the film, and also girl with the pearl earring. So kind of
I can see that
virgin-esque innocence or something. I don't know. I think that's what they're trying to go for, or it could just be they had a blue cloth and thought just put it on her head.
Just stick it on your head.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know. Anyway, so they start doing that. There's a lesbian kiss. Nice.
Ooh, edgy.
And then for 1974, the very, very progressive gay kiss.
Ooh. Because once the sweat is on their tongue, they can then share it around that way too.
Exactly, yeah. It becomes part of them. Like when you become a zombie.
I guess now that I've seen the end of it, what is the point of it? In the moment when we were watching this, I'm like, what is the point of this? Why is this important? What does this have to do with anything? No. Why would his sweat be special? Why would it have any effect on their attitude toward life? But then I realized it's actually just you need to find some conceit to wake them up for the ending. And so they're like, oh yeah, they'll just like lick his sweat. And then that'll be a way we can get them to the big climactic scene at the end.
Yeah, I'm sorry, breaking news here. We've got PZ Myers defending it. How dare you?
I know, I see that.
It's not the super special effects and elaborate sets and all that shit, right? Because that's funny. That's just funny. The story makes no fucking sense. None of it makes any sense.
I think PZ is slightly tongue-in-cheek defending.
I'm not sure he is. I think Minnesota has warped that man's brain. Anyway, so there's a gay kiss. Okay. So then the apathetics become like kind of
Ravers?
ecstatic ravers who start fucking like rabbits. Like literally, they just start fucking.
I guess his sweat is like ecstasy. I guess.
Yeah, yeah, ecstasy and Viagra are one.
But they're not licking him.
No,
they're not like they don't wrestle him to the ground and start licking him like a deer at a salt lick.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, you don't need to. The saltiness of his sweat is so powerful. One drop in a group of 20 people is enough.
Yeah, it's like, what do you call that bullshit when you put something in a drop of water and it's meant to make it more powerful?
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck's sake! Yeah, the
hydro something, isn't it?
No. Oh, Kristi, you were annoying. What's it called? It begins with a C. I'm sure it does. PZ Myers will know. PZ, help us out.
Yeah,
we're trying to think of the thing. Yeah, the shit obviously not science thing. Anyway, so while PZ tells us that, we'll move on. They then abruptly, out of fucking nowhere, with no explanation, the old people homeopathy. There we go.
Homeopathy. Thank you.
So
and see, PZ's defending it's his testosterone that he's just sweating out, and apparently they're full of T now. They're high T apathetics. They're not low T. So remember when high T, low T was a thing?
Yes, I do.
Before simps, it was low T.
Indeed, yeah. Well, there'll be a new thing. Is simp still a thing? Who knows? It's the internet. Every 2 hours there's a new thing.
Yes.
So with literally so it goes from there, right? Daytime with these people for no reason, no explanation, no transition, nothing. It just cuts to this scene where Sean Connery is crawling on his hands and feet, being chased by the renegades.
Yes.
One of
which
them
is in a different part of the place.
Tutu, and then if you look on the left there, there's just a guy wearing a massive head. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what any of this is about. What is this?
They know how to party at the OAP home.
And this is what I mean. None of it makes any fucking sense. None of it.
No.
Anyway.
So they're like, here, wear this. You put on this dress.
Yeah,
this is from a movie I did before. Just you fit in it? Great.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if you were wearing the giant head, John? Yeah, go on. Put the giant head on.
Hey, I have an idea. Maybe the director just said to all his extras, bring something you'd wear to a party. And instead of actually paying for any wardrobe, he just had them do their own costume.
Anyway, so that happens. It
wouldn't make more sense.
And then, so they're over him, looking fucking mental. Again, it's never explained what this is about. What the fuck this is. It's just a thing. And then cut to this scene, which again I've tastefully edited, of the apathetics who are now fucking whilst being watched over by a vampire.
Why? No idea.
Never explained.
Now they want to have sex again, even though they're still immortal, and therefore they shouldn't have a sex drive. So
well, maybe the sweat's so powerful it's made them mortal. Maybe that's the thing, Krista.
Oh, maybe.
Who knows? Maybe.
Well, we know it's not.
Maybe Sean Connery, by killing his own god, became God. It's very Peterson. Anyway, Sean Connery is in a wedding dress.
Yeah, he's hidden by the renegades.
Yeah. By
wearing a wedding dress and a veil. And they present him to friend like a bride.
Yeah.
No idea.
No idea.
But I mean, hey,
that's just James Bond in a old-timey wedding dress. It's fine.
I'm looking at that old. He's one. It fits him very nicely, and it actually looks like it's got a built-in bra to it. Like I can think, it looks like there's some boobs going on. Maybe it's just the shadow of the shot, but he's rocking that dress, by the way.
He is.
It's the best thing he's worn wardrobe-wise in this entire movie.
Yeah. Presumably it was like his actual John Borman's wife's actual wedding dress, and she's just built.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so that
patted him out.
Yeah. So he gets hidden from the people who are chasing him by dressing him as a bride. There's then this bit where May is going to shoot James Bond, but then half old Frank decides to step in, and they're like, "No, give him the gun." But then May's like, "If you inseminate us." She's talking to a rapist here. If you inseminate us, we'll tell you all of our knowledge, and you'll know all of the things.
Yes.
I don't know why either of those two things need to happen, but it's a thing.
Yes. Now, this entire time, she has been defending him and pushing for him to be studied and for people to not kill him. She's always been his advocate. And then she discovered that Arthur had been killed, but who fucking cares, because he's being reborn again. So what's the big deal? Like, that's not a motive.
Yeah, he's the
and now she wants to kill
in
him.
A bag earlier.
He was the fetus in a bag.
Yeah. If you missed that bit, doesn't matter. It makes no more sense if you watch the bit. It doesn't make any sense. It's a fetus in a bag. No. That's all you need to know. That's certainly all John Borman thought you needed to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she asks the rapist to inseminate her and her friends, and they'll teach them everything they know. Natural, perfect, womanly behaviour. Anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's then this, montage as a concept is supposed to be a way of shortening what would be a boring experience for the viewer to watch, but still telling you that person has undergone that experience, right? They've taken that concept and thought, fuck it, rather than using a short montage to show you that, we'll show you a 5-minute montage of projections onto naked women.
Yeah, it's more a reason to just have tits out, I think. I mean, it's very artistic in terms, it's like sometimes the images they project onto bodies were quite striking and beautiful, but like not for 5 minutes. It felt like an hour when you had to sit through it.
Anyway, so yeah, there are various...
So what is that?
It says...
Yet another...
Yeah, go on.
No, go ahead, read it out.
It says, yet another totally thematically relevant and not at all gratuitous tit shot. Which is true. It is. Anyway, so they're projecting bits of, like, Western civilization, like there's classical music and bits of Shakespeare and paintings onto basically naked women to show you that he's undergoing this experience where, via touch osmosis, they are able to transfer all of Western knowledge into Sean Connery. Naturally. But again, the montage goes on for about fucking 3 minutes.
Oh, God,
which is
it just goes on.
Why is it a montage then? Why? It's not a montage. You might as well just show us him reading a fucking book. Jesus. Yes. Anyway. So there you go. Look, classical music projected onto this woman's face. They got their money's worth out of that overhead projector.
Oh, and the same floating head shot, by the way.
Yes. Well, technically not, because that's where the bottom of the screen cuts off. So technically that's just the screenshot. But it's still, it looks as shit. Anyway, so more like that's a painting onto a woman, blah, blah, blah. Then he wakes up, and he's on the desk, and Arthur, who's half old at this point, is still in charge of the antiquities?
Apparently.
Is he still? I wonder if he's still got the bread delivery round as well. Never explained. Anyway,
just because he's older doesn't mean he has to. He can't work.
Exactly. As Peasy Miles will tell you, old people are still useful. Yeah, that's right, Peasy. I'm coming after you, motherfucker. Anyway,
he's only half old, just on one side of his face.
Yeah, he's only half. Exactly, he's only half old. So that's what I'm thinking. Well, maybe the left side of the face is useful for bread delivery, so maybe he can't do that anymore. I don't know how bread delivery works. I'll be honest. I'm not an expert in the matter. So. James Bond wakes up on his desk for no reason. He wasn't there before, but he's there now. Presumably they carried him and put him on Arthur's desk. On Friend's desk, and he wakes up. Okay.
Now he's smart.
And now he's smart. Now he knows everything in the world.
He's
everything that white people did.
Basically. Yes.
Or took credit for. Version. He's got the American History Crib Notes version of knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like Neo in The Matrix. I know Kung Fu.
Yeah, basically. Where are we? Hang on.
And by the way, he does nothing with his knowledge. This doesn't, nothing about his intelligence actually comes into play later on in the movie. I mean, I guess he does some reasoning, but he doesn't draw on Shakespeare, or he doesn't draw on a symphony. It was just something that happened.
Yeah, it's just exactly. It's just a thing. They then explain this bit is them explaining, because that's young Consuela, I think they're on the left, even though it's literally just the actress. Anyway, again, the makeup budget was not great. It's a flashback to, you remember the old guy who discovered immortality? It's him as a younger man, even though again it's just a different actor, explaining, we are now going to do immortal stuff, because we're mortal at the minute, but we're going to become immortal and live out forever in perfect secular reason and logic, and that's the enemy in the film, apparently.
Well, I think no, it's destroying the natural order. That was the lesson, that they messed with the natural order, even though there was no consequences for it really, other than the ones that they imposed upon themselves. So I don't really know what. I mean, it wasn't like nature created Sean Connery. They actually had to cultivate him, as we find out.
Well, spoilers, Kristi. Jesus.
Yeah, sorry, spoilers alert.
But no, but it's a very Petersonian thing. Like, if you live by logic, things will be bad. Like, there's a Peterson undertone to this shit. Anyway, so
yes.
Sean Connery, they get their money's worth out of this projector thing. He's in like a hall of mirrors, which is
my God,
which is now a hall of mirrors. But the naked people on the glass outside, which I have had to fucking edit a dozen times, are there as well, and he's going mental for ages.
Yes. Oh, and we forgot to say, well, I guess it'll come up soon about him having all the bullets.
Yeah.
Ever. Even though he doesn't have any bullets, but all right, yeah. So, he's in this too, just like the montage about him learning something goes on for fucking ever. He's like trapped, isn't he, in this point?
Something.
Oh, no, I think I'm jumping ahead.
He's trapped in the tabernacle.
The tabernacle, yes. Yeah. Okay.
This is theming. It's in that room with the naked people on the glass outside and the fetus in the bag, but for some reason there's now also a hall of mirrors projector thing going on as well, which wasn't there before. So is it the same room or is it a different room? I don't know. Anyway, he then randomly shoots with lots of bullets. It's a 6-shooter, but he's got more than 6 fucking bullets apparently. Okay, and he doesn't need to reload at any fucking point.
Nope.
And then there's this weird bit.
So he shoots at the mirror, right?
Shoots at the mirror. It doesn't seem to do anything. Is then a bit where he's like reaching through a projection of plankton to this woman who's got a crystal. That makes
out of nowhere.
That just makes as much sense as it actually does in the film. That shit explanation I just gave is literally what happens. There's nothing beyond that. Then
I see Tony's offended. You realize that we have to take the piss out of this movie. We're not actually going to try to rescue. Like we're not going to do a high concept analysis of this film. We're mostly just doing trash movies to make fun of them. Oh yeah, you're doing a winky face. Okay, never mind.
Anyway, so he's then back in the Friends jumble sale collection of Western art and walking through.
Yeah, in this case, they've preserved all of the wardrobes over time. Yeah. They have mannequins filled with different eras of clothing that's been preserved.
Exactly. The fucking mannequins are better dressed than the characters, the actual humans in this film. Look at them. There's like a World War II soldier and like a fucking medieval dandy or something.
Confederate.
Yeah, there's loads of shit
a Confederate lady dance or dress.
Yeah, there's a kind of Scarlett O'Hara thing going on. Yeah, there's some good stuff. And then he's walking through and all of a sudden, boom! Fetus in a bag isn't a fetus in a bag anymore, motherfuckers. He's grown back. Fully with his fucking ballpoint pen mustache and beard.
Drew that back on before he left the house.
Exactly. Can't be seen in public. Jesus, he's embarrassing enough being a fetus in a bag. Feels naked otherwise. Ugh, anyway. So, so he's then like... this is where the film ups its game in terms of huffing its own fart. Really unbearable. So, he then does this weird thing where he gets a ball from the sky and he's like doing, okay, we get it, evil magician character or something, okay. Fuck's sake.
Well, of course he's Oz, right? He's Oz.
Yeah, he's the wizard of Oz. He's Zardoz. The Wizardoz. Fuck off. Anyway, and he's like, look into the ball. Sorry, I didn't even take a fucking screenshot of that. He gives him the ball, even though it's a different ball, because clearly that's like a magician's ball thing, and then he gives it to Zed, to James Bond, and it's like a proper crystal ball. So it's clearly two different things. Okay. He says, look into the thing. And he
says,
Yeah, go on.
Go ahead. No, you have.
No, you go on. I've been talking. Go talk.
Okay. Yeah, he basically says what do you want? Something about see, I already fucked it up. Something along the lines of, what do you want? What do you see in the ball? And he sees, I see. Sean Connery says, I see nothing.
Well,
then.
Okay, this is why you shouldn't let women talk. Because they'll get it things
wrong.
Well,
see, I did say you probably have it written down.
Oh, sorry. Well, because last time I was just talking and I wanted your input and stuff. Anyway, he says, "Tell me about the vortex and all this stuff." And he goes, What do you want me to? What do you want me to tell you? He says, look into the ball. He says, I see nothing. Well, then I have nothing to tell you. Oh God, this film is insufferable, man. Anyway, and then he sees, he sees something. Who cares? I'm fucking losing the will to live. Anyway, so he then goes back
he stares into it.
Yeah, he stares into the thing, trying to see something. Consuela is going to stab him, but she doesn't because she loves him.
She can't.
Yeah, she can't.
Why?
Then she gives him a ring, and apparently they're now married or something. Apparently that's a thing in Futureland. You don't need to actually do anything. Just he's now got Consuela's ring. Not in that way. Anyway, so he's then talking into the ring, but into the crystal. But he's still got the crystal ball, but he's now talking to the crystal.
Mm-hmm.
Which
he had both.
Yeah, he's got both.
I don't know where he keeps his shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he had a costume change somewhere along the way. He's got a jacket on now. It's too cold to keep running around in Ireland.
If this was November in Ireland,
diaper.
It's fuck this noise. Yeah, I need to get me a fucking jacket, or you can have your 200 grand back.
Something.
I don't need this shit. Anyway, so he's talking to the crystal. He works out it's the tabernacle. Now, what the fuck is the tabernacle? Because they've only mentioned it like once in the film so far. The tabernacle is the thing that runs the society or allows the force field to exist or something. Again, it's not really explained.
Yeah.
But anyway, and
it kind of keeps them eternal, I guess.
Yeah, it keeps them eternal.
Immortal.
And specifically, they removed the memory of how the tabernacle exists and how to stop it from the minds of the immortals. But because Zed is
they
not
can never
an immortal,
destroy it.
Exactly, so they could never destroy it. But Zed isn't an immortal, so Zed discovers it because of all the fancy knowledge he now has. Talking to the crystal, it's the tabernacle. Then boom, he's stuck inside the tabernacle.
How? No idea.
No, and it's clearly just like a room with some like black shapes in it and stuff.
Yes.
Like I can see the lights reflecting.
Yes, and he's got his gun back.
He's got his gun back.
He was just and he's wearing a skirt.
Naturally, it's some strong hippie vibes, I suppose. Yeah.
You could maybe look at the allegory or make an analogy to Genesis when Adam and Eve gained knowledge, the tree of
you're stealing my shit.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. You say it then.
No, it's not
Well, he's wearing clothing.
I said that to you when we watched the film. And now you're saying it like, I've got this fantastic idea that it's an allegory for the Garden of Eden. When I said that...
Go ahead.
Because everyone's now going to think, Kristi's really clever. That's a really interesting looking thing. I came up with
Look
that.
Look how butthurt you are. You just got spanked.
I don't say clever things very often. So when I do, I need people to realise that I am capable of it. Anyway, so he's naked before, virtually, he's in just pants. And now he's gained knowledge, he puts clothes on, like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Which again,
but I think
he
goes back to being naked later.
But whatever.
Yeah, it might just been cold.
Yeah, it was just cold. Yeah, the heating broke that day. So they were like, just get him a jacket. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and also, even though he was holding the crystal, now he's got his gun again.
Now he's got his gun, naturally. Maybe he's done a mind meld with the gun. He and the gun go everywhere together. They're the best buddy cop duo never written. Anyway, so he's inside the tabernacle, and then there's this weird bit where he's in the mirror. He does a slidey thing, yeah. And there's a kaleidoscope effect which must have blown people's fucking minds in 1974.
You can see up his. You can't really see up his skirt though.
No, trust me,
Do you see any man cheeks there?
No, I looked for any hint of foreskin that needed to be visually eradicated. But no, that's fine. That works. Although I do see a total prick, but that's a different matter entirely. Anyway, so that's that. Again, the visual style is very of its time. And then we're back to this fucking Hall of Mirrors projection shit again for no reason. And
second time.
Yeah, it goes on forever. Who cares? He then sees his former self, because remember, he's dressed in that's why they need the different dress thing, right? Because that's his new self dressed in proper clothes, or at least dressed. And then he sees his former self, and he shoots his former self. Literally, they have blood running out of the mirror. It's very clever.
It's like Luke Skywalker facing Darth Vader in the forests in the Star Wars series when he visits Yoda.
Exactly. When you look into the mirror in the crazy projector hall of mirrors, you see the thing you fear the most, and it's yourself.
With wearing shotgun shells.
Yeah. Anyway, so he kills his former self, and then again they're crazy because the society is unnatural and broken. They start destroying Western civilization. It's very nationalist. It's very Petersonian. The destruction of classical civilization. No. God, this film is fucking shit. Anyway, so Sean Connery's dead, apparently, but then
or at least passed out.
But then Consuela kisses him and he's fine again, like literally fine, to the point where
like a fairy tale.
Yeah, he starts doing some weird force field shit with his hand and brain or something. And then
he starts casting people aside.
And then blatantly they're just rewinding the tape. That's
yes,
in 1974 that counts as special effects, even though it's clearly just the same footage in reverse.
Yeah, okay. Something was smashed, but then it comes back together because he unsmashes it by rewinding the tape.
Yeah, and then they're back with the old people, the guy who invented immortality. Who touches the crystal and dies. Mortality has returned to the immortals.
Oh, sweet death.
Fucking hell. This film, man. Right. Then, literally, Karl Marx dies. He literally falls.
Oh, yes.
He falls from the sky.
Yes. By the way, one of the things that friend said was that when they had gotten bored of learning everything there was to know on Earth, they created a spaceship and visited other planets, but even then they couldn't find anything exciting. And the head is like either the spaceship or it's left over from the spaceship. That's where that comes from, apparently.
Hang on, why have I got no concurrent viewers? What? Has the stream gone down, or is that just YouTube?
Look at OBS. Look at OBS.
Oh no, it's fine again.
It's green.
Oh no, it's just YouTube fucking with you pricks. Fuck YouTube. Sorry.
You guys can't see the screen we're seeing, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
but it said I
head.
had no concurrent viewers for the last 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden I had like 50. What? Anyway.
Well, people are still chatting, so.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, right. Fuck you, YouTube. So yeah, that happens. Yeah. Oh yeah, and they mentioned earlier the nihilism thing that if they commit suicide, they just come back again. They get grown as a fetus in a bag and grow and blah blah blah.
Fetus in a bag.
Fetus. Well, that's what it is. They get grown as a fetus in a bag. What else do you describe it as?
I want that on a T-shirt. I want Arthur in a bag and a T-shirt and just say fetus in a bag.
Fetus in a bag. Anyway, so he talks about having committed suicide several times when he gets bored, and he just gets grown as a fetus in a bag again. He doesn't say fetus in a bag, but that's
no, that's our paraphrasing.
Yeah, I'm trying to make this less than 6 hours fucking long. Anyway, so Karl Marx dies.
We're getting near the climax now.
We are, and then again, complete abrupt tonal shift. They're now doing some hippie shit in the fountain.
Yeah, it looks like a commune.
Yeah,
I mean, pretty much
is.
My idea of a '70s commune.
There's some hippie commune vibes going down. It's 1974. The hippies were still a thing. Just.
Yes.
68 had happened, but it was still around. It was in the cultural zeitgeist. Anyway, so having inseminated these women, the rapist sends them out. Oh no!
Yeah, his baby mamas.
Yeah, well, this is because he says if you inseminate us, we'll give you our knowledge. So he inseminates them as the knowledge. That's the point, I think, why they're naked. There is a point apparently. Anyway,
wait. So it wasn't just It wasn't just touch osmosis. It was penis osmosis.
Yeah, you look well. Technically, vag osmosis.
Yeah, I guess you're right because it was he was the receiver and they were the givers of the seed. No, I missed that. I just thought that they were like doing weird stuff. But
no,
so
he sends them out.
Light goes on.
Yeah, so these are pregnant ladies, although not very heavily. So riding a horse is probably fine for now. And sends them out to just live in the mortal world again because everywhere's mortal now. So go out and live as normal people in the harsh,
with the brutals.
Shitty environment where presumably there are still brutals that are slaving other brutals to make food. When's that society going to change? Doesn't need to be explained.
Also, where are they going to get food from, or shelter, or clothing?
No. Well, as we see,
no.
shelter and housing and stuff isn't really a big concern for Zed. We'll get to it. Anyway.
He's got a house, though.
Then it's genuinely the most Petersonian and pretentious scene in the history of cinema. Arthur and half-old friend start talking to Zed, and Arthur explains that he, via selective breeding, bred Zed to be a mutant. To be a mutant that would be able to come into the vortex and break the immortality. Be super knowledgeable. Yeah. So,
even though he basically does not act like an intelligent person at all throughout his entire life.
Yeah.
He's as brutal and violent as any of them.
Would you kill God? I was your creator, blah de blah. And then Zed says to him, "Yes, but you were created by the thing, so the creator was created." Blah blah blah. It's very Petersonian to the point where literally fucking Arthur quotes Nietzsche about the dragon.
Yes,
it literally quotes Nietzsche in the most Petersonian thing ever put on film, saying if you study the dragon too much, you become the dragon or something. And you just think, oh, you cunts. Oh, why are you doing this to me? What the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, so it's the most fart-huffy piece of shit.
Sorry, pardon me. Yes. Pardon me while I huff my fart. Oh, yeah, God, I'm so smart.
Oh, God. If this film needs to be dying in a bed in Serbia, is what I think. Anyway.
There's no subtlety. They're going to tell you exactly how clever this movie is.
Yeah,
exactly. They're just not going to leave it to the fact that you could think about anything.
Yeah, indeed. Yes, so explains the breeding thing. Then the May is in the fountain, as we saw earlier, and says to Zed, "Now I'm mortal, you need to kill me." And he says, "I've changed. That part of me is dead now."
Oh, it's not. I don't think it's May. I don't think it's May. I think it's just the no. It's just the naked boob lady. From if you go back to the fountain,
isn't that May?
Yeah, I don't think it's May. No, May is one of the ladies who rode away that got pregnant.
Oh, is it?
So I think this one was.
Well, one of them.
I think she was the
women
first
are very
woman he saw
in this film. Really,
she's the one who is always showing up without her shirt on, but looking at him that curiously.
That really doesn't narrow it down, though, Christy. Most of the women get their tits out.
The first woman on a horse with no shirt.
Oh, okay.
The first woman on the horse.
Oh, and the woman in the hydroponics. Yeah, okay. So hydroponics tit woman wants to get shot by Zed, but he can't now because he's not. He's not a brutal assassin anymore. He's not one of the Brutals assassin team squad apparently, so he can't. But then she gets shot anyway, and you think, what the fuck's happening? The Brutals have broken in, and all of a sudden it's like a fucking American school classroom. There's shooting going on everywhere.
Except, I mean, that's a very painful reference for me as an American. But
what,
so I'm just going to shift it a little bit.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it's
always.
Literally an ongoing
it's always
problem.
So soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it turns into this weird sort of like. They're all running toward the Brutals going, "Kill me, shoot me." And you're like, what the fuck is going on? Because I don't remember anybody being as depressed as Friend was in leading up to this. They were pretty happy with their lives. I mean, the people around the dining room table. But even the people who woke up and started fucking, they're like, no, I don't want to fuck more. I just discovered fucking, but hell, fuck it. I just want to kill me now. And it's a really weird sort of cultish death going out in a blaze of glory. It was just very weird.
Yeah, it was very strange. Anyway, and then the condoms explode
for no reason whatsoever. No, I guess I don't remember them bringing fire.
No,
maybe the grain got on like powder or the flour set on fire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, explosive flour. That's a thing.
Yes.
Actually, it can be combustible flour.
Yeah. That's why I made the reference.
Yeah. Anyway, but not like literally explosive like a fucking bomb.
Not like that.
No, but it can start like a house fire.
Maybe in the condoms.
Actually, it's
but if
possibly
the condoms.
The Great Fire of London was possibly started by a flour fire in a house.
Igniting flour dust.
Indeed. Anyway, but yeah, so the condoms explode for no reason. They've got another one of those tinfoil on a pole things on the side of the house as well. Good. It's the future, you say.
Or is that not just a house light? Is that maybe not just a yard light that they didn't get in? They got in the shot by accident.
No, because
it might just be like a floodlight.
There are other bits on like the
Okay.
left side. Like I think that's the tinsely thing. I don't know if it's the same one.
Oh.
Presumably it is. They didn't pay for two. Why bother? Anyway, then in what is, I think, if there was an Academy Award for the hammiest performance in a scene for 1974, these two cunts would win it for this. One of the brutals shoots half old friend, and the acting between the two of them as he dies and he's like, is the most unconvincing acting ever done by anyone in anything.
Here's a bit of a deep cut reference for Spaced. If you remember the when they go into the woods and they do the paint gun battle.
Yeah.
And then at the end, Nick Frost sort of pretends to die, and Simon Pegg is like, no. It's kind of up there with that.
Yeah, exactly. But that's done particularly over
I'm
the
on
top
purpose
for a joke. Yeah. Whereas these motherfuckers think this is good acting. It isn't. It
or John
isn't.
Borman did.
Well, John Borman did. Well, yeah, but I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe there was another take where it wasn't as bad. Who knows? Maybe it's like, no, guys, you've done that really well, right? But what I want is for you to act like no human being would ever act in the history of mankind.
Yes.
No, just, really ham it up for me, guys, yeah? Anyway.
Do one for me. Just do one for me.
Yeah, exactly. And then you put it in
me. I know we did a professional one, but...
Then Consuela and Zed go off to live in Karl Marx's dead face.
Because no one's going to look for them there.
No, that's fine. And then they fuck, although you don't see the fucking, you just see the kissing. We'll go back to that shortly. Then, in again, the kind of how clever this film is, the guy who was on trial before, who had the thing, he doesn't want to die. He says, don't kill me, and then gets killed. The good and the evil die. No. Oh, this film. Could it huff its farts anymore?
Yeah, they give him sort of like a shaving razor cut along the back of his neck, and that kills him.
Yeah, exactly, even though that wouldn't. It would hurt, and you'd lose a bit of blood. But with swift medical procedure, you wouldn't even be that ill. It's just, it wouldn't kill you. They didn't decapitate
just a couple
him.
stitches, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, so that happens, and then she's pregnant.
Yep. No pants on.
Yeah, no pants on. That's
and she's doing a really great job of...
If you're giving birth, probably don't wear pants. I think that's one.
That's
one
true.
time that's absolutely acceptable.
But Sean Connery's really not helping out very much by like being there to help with the delivery. He's just next to her. He's not trying to catch the baby.
Are there no medical staff anywhere?
No, I guess all the baby mamas are gone and no midwives exist. So it's just the two of them in the head.
Yeah, exactly. And they decide to live in the head for 9 months.
Well, not just 9 months.
There's a house like next door. Big fucking manor that still exists. The condoms exploded, but the house presumably is still there. But they're living in Karl Marx's dead face. Okay. So and then there's the. That's a thing.
Thank you for that. Thank you for bringing all of our attention. Say goodbye, tits.
Yeah, bye, tits. Anyway, so then there's this shot, which basically ends the movie, where there's the newborn baby. She lost her fucking weight pretty quick, didn't her? Jesus.
Yes, very quick.
And then it's a young boy. It's a series of child actors. He grows up a bit more. Then he's a man person, and then he leaves.
And the mother's like, no, don't leave. But the father's like, no, that's exactly what they do.
It's the natural order of things, Kristi.
Hey, that's what I said. That is what I said at that point in the movie.
You did. Anyway, so these two decide to grow old together.
Yeah. Just by staring into blank space.
Sitting still in Karl Marx's dead fucking head. That's a sentence you didn't expect to hear today. It happened. Then look at the fucking prosthetics in this shot. They look like fucking Star Trek characters. Look at the fucking forehead on her. Why couldn't they give
those kind of beard? She does look a bit Klingon.
It's madness. And then, as if it couldn't get any weirder, I literally gasped when this came on the screen. They're fucking skeletons with hair.
Still holding hands.
He's still got a fucking beard. As a skeleton. What's it grown out of? His fucking bone. What? Anyway, so that happens, and I gasped. I was like, I cannot believe. I was dumbfounded that they put that shot in there, and all the time they're playing the same piece of fucking. Can I just, for a second, take a time out to say that to the sound editor of this film, go fuck yourself. They constantly play a ding noise every time anything happens, ding, and it drove me mad. It was like a car alarm going off. I wanted to fucking kill myself. And then they paid for one piece of fucking actual music, clearly, which was Beethoven's.
It was probably public domain, honestly. It's probably free. It's probably public domain.
That's true. Well, it was 1974, so it wasn't that long. So anyway, no, I'm yeah, it was probably.
I'm pretty sure Beethoven wasn't though. Yes.
But but there's lots of other free domain music. They just played that one fucking track in virtually every scene, and it drove me mad. It's nice music. It's a bit ominous, nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the sound editing on this was just like, oh, go fuck yourself. Anyway, then they disappear.
Right.
So,
they even
no
just
point
disappear.
During the decades that they were living together, did they think, should we move out of Karl Marx's dead face?
No.
That's fine.
It's comfy there.
It is.
We're gonna stay here.
In rural Ireland, it probably won't get cold, given the massive holes in the walls everywhere. Anyway, so it then zooms into spray-painted hands and a rusty gun. And that's literally the last scene of the film.
See, life is ephemeral, the natural
But why is the
order has
spray-painted
been
hands?
returned,
When
and
did
all
they
that's
appear?
left. No idea. They didn't. They only appeared in the skeleton. If you go back, if you went to the beginning, yeah. Go back. It only appears when the skeletons appear. See, it's not there when they're actually alive. No,
the gun isn't rusty there, but now the gun's rusty.
But apparently,
what the fuck?
Yes, right before they die, they decide to spray paint their hands, and then they hold hands and become skeletons.
Yeah, it's very strange. Anyway, I'm going back to Zardoz.
That's it.
Yeah, and then that's the end of the fucking film.
That's it.
What the fuck was that about?
So we blame the chat, totally. But
yeah, I mean, thank you, but also fuck you for having made me do all of those edits on those fucking tits.
Those were hilarious.
Can we thank you. Can we have a slightly less tit-heavy film next time? And, can we have a slightly less rude body parts in total that I have to fucking edit film next time? Please.
Yeah, actually, my top request is no sexual assault, please. That would be better.
Oh, God, as if that's a thing you have to say. Fucking hell.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Can we screen for sexual assault? I mean, it was, I guess, like I said, the film is what it is, but,
yeah, shit.
So,
absolutely
my gosh.
Shit.
It's so bad. And it's, like you said, so fart huffy.
Yeah.
But having no idea other than the trailer, which looked just trippy. I mean, the whole movie was like that. I'm like, why? What is going on?
The Karl Marx head sold me. I was just like, the flying Karl Marx head thing is made of rock. Amazing. Anyway, so that was... Yeah, I would give this film 2 flying Karl Marx stone heads out of 10.
I think I'm going to give it a half a flying Karl Marx Stonehead.
How does this compare as a film to White Chicks?
These words are going to come out of my mouth. White Chicks is a superior film. If nothing, if for no other reason, it actually had a plot. It didn't have a plot. It kind of had a plot. It had a conceit. It had a sort of thing that the characters were motivated to do that was consistent and drove their actions throughout the length of the film. Yeah. Whereas here, Sean Connery, there's just he never becomes he has no redemption. He never becomes likable. I mean, we're supposed to assume because he knows things he has changed, but has he? Other than the fact that now he won't kill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he still let the mortals in who then kill them, and that's a mercy killing or something.
Yes.
Okay.
So
rather than now that they're mortal, let them live out their lives.
I guess I'm going to rank White Chicks higher than Zardoz so far. Yeah. How about you? What was a better movie for you?
Well, just for the fact that there was less, but less sexual assault. White Chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our ranking so far of trash movies.
Yeah.
And so far, Zardoz is at the bottom and White Chicks is at the top place. That's only 2 positions. So,
But then technically Zardoz is in second place, and silver medal is not bad. So.
Well, it's also in last place. So it's how you decide to construct the metrics.
Kristi is clearly glass half empty.
Well, no, I mean, actually, is it a dichotomy or is it a scale? Because, you know, you can be, like, as you say, like, you can be, you can treat it like a spectrum or you can treat it like a dichotomy because it's only 2 measures. So it depends on how you
I said the clever thing about the Garden of Eden, and that is the one clever thing I'm going to say forever. Ever. So, checkmate atheoids. Yes. So yeah, this film was trash. There were kind of pseudo-religionist overtones, which annoyed me. Everything about the quote-unquote storyline was meaningless. Most of the scenes could have been cut out, and it wouldn't have made any difference.
Oh,
they were completely superfluous.
You could have shortened this film by 20 minutes.
You could and should have taken out at least 90% of the tits. They were not necessary. I'm not saying we're very pro tit. We're pro breast, we're pro free the nipple on this show. But gratuitous soapy tits on a screen are entirely unnecessary. There was no need for any of that.
I think John Borman set himself a personal challenge. How can I get soapy tits and naked mud wrestling legitimately into a film? I think that was the goal of this entire movie.
Almost certainly. Yeah. He took the conceit of 1984 and to the 2001: A Space Odyssey and thought, how can I fit tits into it?
Yeah, and Andrew in the chat makes an excellent point in that White Chicks had Terry Crews. There was no Terry Crews in this movie.
There was no Terry Crews in this movie. Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Oh my god. Terry Crews, yeah, I mean, I won't say he saved that film, but he made it vaguely watchable. Whereas this had Sean Connery's lowest effort acting that he ever did, I think. He's so
I mean,
about this project.
You could look forward to Terry Crews in White Chicks. You're like, oh, hey, he's on the screen again. Yeah. Something funny might happen. Whereas here, there's just no one you looked forward to seeing.
Yes, basically so. Anyway, so that's enough Zardoz. I'm glad that's over.
Oh yes, also, for my lifetime, that's enough Zardoz.
Yeah, I will never be watching that film again. Yes. Next time, can we choose right, there are specific qualifiers for the next film, right? We'll take any suggestions that fall under all of these characteristics. Okay. No rape. I'm not saying we'll never do a film with any sexual assault again, because some of those films can be interesting to look at and stuff, but for now, no rape. In
bad movies, they're probably not.
Well, no, they're not, but it can be a reason why the film is bad. Like, I'm not saying we'll rule that out forever, because that might rule out a number of films. But for now, let's have no rape.
Let's take a break.
Let's have no rape. Something that's available in Germany, so that I don't have to do the fucking screenshotting again, because I want it to be back and forth. I don't want to do the work every single time, because it's, like I say, simultaneously very productive and a total waste of time, which is almost an impossible thing to pull off, the combination of those two things, and yet it was. No rape, available in Germany, which is a weird characteristic.
I don't know how people are going to know that.
Yeah. And maybe go for something that doesn't fall within either sci-fi. Well, I don't mind comedy, because bad comedy's funny in itself. But no, I don't want to do sci-fi again. If that makes sense.
I mean,
The Room
is
a dreadful film. That would work.
Yeah. I know I've seen it before, but I could share it with you. There are some really terrible movies on YouTube that we could watch, and then I could definitely do the screenshots for that, but you'd be forced to sit through them, so that might be Tremors is one of my guilty pleasures. I love Tremors. That's not a bad movie, that's an awesome movie. I fucking love Tremors. I actually had that on DVD.
Should we just do The Room?
Yeah, we can do The Room.
Okay, we'll do The Room. That's got to be
it is a classic and everyone see it.
Yeah. Well, it is a classic in as much as it's like...
I don't know if I've ever watched it from start...
The benchmark for bad movie making.
Yes, it is, which makes me like think that maybe we should do it a little bit later on.
Oh, okay,
as opposed to
we
jumping
won't
right
do.
in. But if
we won't do. No, we won't do the room.
I love this picture.
That is amazing.
This is my favorite. Well, we can just do it like maybe next or the third one down or something. Because I have a shit movie I'd like to introduce you to, and maybe introduce the audience to as well.
What film is that then?
I've got to look up its name again. I mean, it's been several years since I watched it, so I'm gonna have to track it down. Yeah, I'll have to find it on YouTube, and then I can share it in the Facebook group and on Twitter.
Okay, so stay tuned for whatever that is and whenever that is.
Yes, whatever hell I'm gonna bring to you.
Either when or what it is, but stay tuned for it nonetheless.
Yeah.
We're so good.
You're gonna hate this movie.
We're so good. Well, that's the point, isn't it? I think.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is exactly the point.
Yeah. Is there any tips you're gonna have to not bleep out?
Oh no, it's a Christian movie. It's a Christian.
Oh,
it's a Christian movie.
Hell. Oh no. Oh no. It's not like
and
one of these.
Anyone's a fan of God awful movies did a podcast about it, and I watched it. It's fucking terrible. Okay. But it's from like ages and ages ago, so no, it's like years and years back.
Okay. So it's not like God's Not Dead or something.
Oh, I mean, that's a shit movie, but it's even worse than that. I mean, that actually has professional actors in it. Damn. This doesn't.
Fair enough.
So it's even worse. It's very amdram.
Oh, awesome.
So I will find it.
I can't wait. So we'll look forward to that.
Yes, I'm actually trying to look it up now, but
doesn't matter.
Well, hopefully, like in a week or so, because
we usually are sponsored by Matt Hummels and Hummels, but they wanted nothing to do with this film, so we're not sponsored by anyone.
I think it's called Leap. It's called Leap.
Leap.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also, since it's on there, people could also watch it as well. Is it Leap of Faith? I'll look up the deets and I'll circulate it. If people want to suffer through it with us, or you can watch us suffer through it, and then you can always watch it afterwards if you want to experience it in the reels.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
So, Kristi, what have you got?
Yes.
What?
Leap, Rise of the Beast, I think is what it got to.
Okay.
Yes. I will definitely find this.
I think it's done by Go on, sorry.
Yeah, it's done by El Directo Vision. Here on YouTube.
Oh, good.
Yes.
So at one point we're going to have to do. There's a weird anti-abortion film starring Robert Loggia that we're definitely.
Oh, that sounds hilarious.
That is, it's amazing. Where I won't reveal the twist at the end, but basically they kidnap these women who are going to have abortions and then force them to go to term, and Robert Loggia is playing like the Grand Master of the scheme. It's really twisted.
Yeah, that sounds fucked up.
It's more fucked up than you imagine, and it's a dreadful film. So we have to do that at some point.
There's so much bad movies, so many bad movies.
Yeah,
so much bad movies. It's like a weight of bad movies.
Yeah, exactly. Christian cinema is just replete with nonsense. But we can't just do Christian stuff.
No.
Even though that is
part
of our secret plan to turn everyone into Muslims, Allah be praised, obviously.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely Leap, Rise of the Beast, 2011 full movie.
Oh, 2011. That's not that long ago. When you said ages ago, I was thinking like 90s. I was expecting like some sort of fucking
that's almost 10 years ago now.
Some sort of 360p nonsense going down, but no. Okay.
No. This guy filmed it on his iPhone.
Oh, that's probably not. Well, I mean, the resolution's probably not too bad because iPhones are quite good for that. But...
Oh wow, you're already setting expectations.
Oh, am I?
I'm not going to be.
iPhones. I know people who do YouTube videos on iPhones, and they're fine. Like they're perfectly clear. 1080p stuff, or 720p.
And then I can.
Least.
Yes. So yes, we can look forward to that. Leap, Rise of the Beast. I will do all those screenshots. I won't have to worry about any nipples. in this Christian movie. But then we could do the Room after that, or we can do the Loja movie, whatever you
Whatevs.
More trash movies to come.
Yeah, and we'll be back at some point. I'm free. Well, this is an off-air discussion. We'll have this discussion off-air. We don't need the plebs. Don't need to know all of this, especially Peasy fucking Myers. Yeah, I'm on to you. No, it's nice to have another scientist, because I'm a scientist. Kristi isn't. I'm a scientist. I'm the sweet science of wet ass pussy is my science.
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, we'll be back at some point. Something. Go away.
Yeah.
All of you immediately.
Bye.
This has been a gratuitous tit shot of a stream. I've enjoyed it enormously. Thank you. Thank you to Kristi for this.
Yeah. I mean, suffering through it with you.
Yeah.
It's brought us closer together, I think.
It's worse for me because I had to pay for it as well. So like, it was,
and you had to screenshot it.
And I had to screenshot it. And I got quite sardonic with my with my bleeping out of tits and things and messages.
Yeah, your tit commentary was the best thing about this movie on this watch. It really was. It wasn't Terry Crews, all right, but it did add some humor to an otherwise miserable. Because
Terry
film.
Crews, I mean, my jokes pack, but not like fucking Terry Crews. We all saw what that was. Jesus,
yes,
could break a girl in two. Anyway. Or put them in a wheelchair, which was the actual joke in the movie.
Yes, yeah, that was the running joke.
Which was very funny and not at all very creepy. Anyway, talking of white chicks, there we are on the screen. Yes, goodbye from Zardonic. Yes, Peasy, you've redeemed yourself. The Peasy redemption arc. Anyway, so fucking hell, I'm trying to end this fucking stream. I had a worse one yesterday. I did a thing. I looked over Milo and
I was there for part of it.
Destiny, you were indeed. But because I was broadcasting it on Twitch, when someone subscribes to you on Twitch, when you're on air, you hear a ding in your ear.
Oh, you hate that.
It happened like about a dozen times. Which thank you to everyone who's subscribed to me or followed me on Twitch and all that. Links in the description. But yeah, that was so distracting. It drove me fucking mental. So I'm gonna have to turn that off.
You're like Pavlov's dog.
Well, no, it's not Pavlov's dog. It's that I'm trying to get my flow together, and all of a sudden it goes diddle ding. What the? It's really loud because I'm wearing earphones. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, I'm trying to end this fucking stream. Right. Goodbye from me, and goodbye from Kristi. Say goodbye, Kristi.
Goodbye, Kristi.
She did the bit.